Go. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
Richardson gonna take off and run. He's in there! Touchdown! I-N-D-Y! Outside give to Taylor. Stretching it out. He's at the 5, and he walks in untouched. Jonathan Taylor. Turner wants to do more damage, and he does.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it! Hits it!
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome in on a glorious Thursday. Hey, James, look at me inside the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Does this look like a really sweet 90s album band cover right here? What do you think?
It kind of does. You're rocking it right now.
Look at my face right here. It's like, hey, this dude right here would make a great album cover in the 90s. This would be like something like Trippin' Daisy. Trippin' Daisy back then would say, yeah, you know what? That'd be a great album cover right there. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, Joe's Grill, 116 and Brook School for the foreseeable future. In fact, until about 15 after 6, including the Colts Daily Update a little bit later on. And we have a lot to get to. I know it's up to us to get us where we want to go, but I also give you the opportunity as well because there is so much to go over, including week number 3 starts tonight on Amazon Prime. So you're going to get on Prime tonight, New England and the Jets. And it sucks because I've got to buy into the Jets program tonight, and I really don't want to. I didn't want to last week. I end up paying for it as we'll get into our week 2 picks, which as damn good as I was in week number 1, I was woeful in week number 2. So my status, or at least near status, as even Steven remains alive as we head into week number 3. But you've got New England, you've got the Jets coming up later on tonight. You've got the Fever, their regular season finale on the road in Washington. You got a lot of stuff working too. And I know I mentioned yesterday, we're not paying too much of attention to baseball. I mean, if you watch yesterday, the Reds just got eliminated from playoff contention, which should surprise nobody for like the umpteenth millionth year consecutively. But I think everybody's local favorite teams, with the exception of Ryan Nally over there who loves the Mets, and the Mets are in good position right now. Everybody's local teams are getting flushed down the crapper. So we'll get back into it once the postseason starts. And I got a call yesterday from our friend Tucker Barnhart who says, hey, you know what, I'll come on a couple of days a week basis and give you a good breakdown of the postseason. And I said, yep, let's do that. So we will get into a little bit more baseball once the postseason is officially underway. JMV here. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots Thursday, week number 3 here. Yeah, we've got samples going. I already got a little bit of a sample right here working. And more than just a small drink of water right here to my left, as you can see, if you're watching via the AAA Membership Lounge, YouTube Live, our betting analyst Brent Halverson is here. As I mentioned about myself, it was a very forgettable week number 2, but I'm assuming for all of us it was not anything to write home about.
You know, it wasn't, John. And there's some crazy stats. We'll talk a little bit further around the 4 o'clock hour, but crazy stats out there. Those underdogs are barking. You know,
crazy stats.
And just a little a key nugget here. And I went 6-10. I got smoked last week. Tommy Sutton was 7-9, so we were all on the wrong side of 500. Man. But so any favorites of between 6 and 8 points have not covered yet this year. Everyone has lost, and most of them have lost outright. So the underdogs have been barking to start the year early, and we'll talk through and see what's week 3 is looking like, because now is when we start to get a little idea, right, of who's who and what's what. There's been some pretenders out there, and we'll talk through them.
Against the number, and I know a lot of you guys do that as well, just like we do every Thursday right here, it seems like that you have a very familiar trend of, you know, the -6.5, the -2.5, things of that nature. Was somebody that has been doing this as long as you have, what's the meaning behind that? I guess in trying to describe what type of season we're off to right now.
Well, again, we always talk, you got to wait those first 2-3 weeks, right, before you go after hard. But, you know, it's that point spread, right? That there's a reason it's there, and a lot of it's going to be public determined. So you get a lot of people about Miami, for example, right? If Tua was playing, I think they were going to be a 4-point favorite the look ahead. So they pre-plan lines weeks in advance, preparing for that. Once Tua went down and all that happened, that game switched, and they're now a 4.5-point dog. So it moved 8.5 points from where it would have been with Tua instead of Skylar Thompson, who will be making the start, which he's got 3 years under his belt there. I mean, he's nothing to write home about, but they got a lot of talent in those positions, right? But you'll see a lot of reaction in that public going after, following that, thinking Tua's out, there's no way they win.
I was looking at a couple of things, too. One that was going to stand out, I don't know if I want to bring this up or bring this up a little bit later on, was obviously how you look at the Carolina Panthers, which we will, but is this the Chargers going back-to-back? Was it last weekend in Charlotte against the Panthers, and now this weekend the Chargers on the road coming east again against the Steelers? Is that back-to-back weeks for them? And it's funny, normally you would view that and you'd go, hey, this is probably not going to be good the second time around right here, but it's just that Jim Harbaugh effect. I mean, he may leave a program or a team in absolute disarray and chaos, but, man, when he is there, he is on top of everything. So I think that's a little less of a prevalent thought than it normally would be, is it not?
It is. I mean, but again, Harbaugh, he brings a whole different game. I mean, the Chargers are 2-0, right? They're starting off good. They look good. They're doing what it takes to get done. That's an interesting game coming up in Pittsburgh that you mentioned there too, right? So they're 2-0 as well. Yeah. They're not putting up a lot of points.
And
but
Pittsburgh's here coming up a week from Sunday.
They're coming here, so it's going to be.
Well, not at Joe's Grill and Fisher's, but downtown at Lucas Oil Stadium.
A lot of people come by here at Joe's and Fisher's. So Cole Swindell was here a couple of years ago.
Was he really?
Oh,
wow, Cole Swindell in here.
But no, I think, like you mentioned, though, you're going to have a lot of that mentality, right? So Harbaugh, I think he changes the whole scape for the Chargers. Speaking of the Chargers, they've not been a good road traveling team, in the past. But I think that's kind of out of the door right now. I think. And you mentioned the Carolina game. I mean, look at Andy Dalton's going to be hopping behind center right there this week. I think that brings them a lot of new weapons, and they just weren't able to get it done. And I think that change right there is going to be something to watch.
Jim Harbaugh has a shelf life, a very definite shelf life, and you will recognize this, that there are more than a handful of great coaches, and he is a great coach, great coaches that do have a shelf life, and I don't care what level we're talking about, whether it's professional, college, or all the way down to high school, there is going to be a shelf existence for a lot of these types of guys. But, man, when you first get them and they are transforming your team, it can be glorious for that fan base. Maybe in the fifth year, you're kind of worn out and there's going to be a change necessary. But you know that sooner rather than later, for whatever we're talking about, collegiately, program-wise, or franchise-wise, he's going to turn something around because it always happens.
They've got that football mentality in that family. They're just bred that way, right? I mean, look what he did in the NFL, but him and his brother both, they have it. They get it done. I was watching something the other day, John. It was pretty wild. It showed the difference of the Harbaugh brothers, right? Yeah. Showed them in practice and showed John getting fire hose down, going after a ball and making sure he got on the ball and pulled it up and rolled over, and then had Jim on the back of one of the sleds, pulling one of the sleds with a guy on it. Just kind of nonchalantly, but they're out there with the players. They're out there. They win them over. I think that's key, right? They're players, coaches. They got the respect level there, and they're going to get the best out of those players on the field.
So Brent Halverson, our betting analyst right there. We'll focus in on the Colts hosting the Bears in week number 3, and we've gone over the percentages about how many teams going 0-2 make the postseason, how many teams going 0-3 make the postseason. But make no mistake about this. Regardless, I always throw out these must-wins, and normally it doesn't work. Normally they lose when I put out a must-win, but Shane Steichen talks about, you could lose 2 in a row over the course of the season and you don't look at it the same. Well, you look at the stats right now, and it is just ridiculous when you start 0-3. So you can't. And you can't against the Bears, and you can't get done in. Let's say, for example, we got a couple of Bears guys coming on. I'll explain in a second. You can't get done in a similar fashion as you have in the first 2 because, in fact, the way that you've gone down the tubes, if you're the Colts, are in ways in which everybody felt that was going to be a strength for this team. And it hasn't been. It's been the detriment. You can't make that 3 in a row Sunday.
You can't. I think this is a good spot for the Colts, though, being at home against a struggling Bears team right now. I think there's going to be and like you said, must win. This is a must win. You start the season 0-3, and things are starting to look a lot different. The one thing that I was actually traveling, didn't get to watch a lot of the game, which really was hard for me to do on Sunday. We were heading to Austin, but Jonathan Taylor, he was just kind of non-existent in the tail hand.
Well, because they didn't play, because his head coach had him on the sideline.
Correct.
Which was just complete brain fade.
You've got to get him in there. He's your star, right? And the game wasn't out of control.
Everybody's tried to explain this to me 19 different ways, and the only counter that I have is who out there that is a coach of a team does not put their best players on the field, especially when it matters. All right? You have to have him out there. And people say, well, you know what? He's not a good pass protector. I don't give a crap. Oh, you know what? He couldn't catch and he dropped 2 balls earlier. Who cares? He had 8.5 yards per carry, basically that much, if not more, per touch. He was your best player that day. He, I think, arguably is your best player in general. And I don't care how the analytics or any of these dorks try to explain it to me. Not in a mean way, and I shouldn't call them dorks, I guess, but they are kind of nerdy and dorky. Try to explain it, and it's funny. We have so transitioned now to the analytics of it, and sometimes all you have to do is watch the freaking game. If you watch that game, it was going to be at a detriment not to utilize him. Well, it only could have been a couple of series. Well, think about the series prior to, when they started banging out the pass more than the run. Think about the 3rd and 1 where they go with Trey Sermon and not him. You cannot do that. That's, among other things, everybody talks about Gus Bradley. And Gus Bradley is failing as the defensive coordinator and how bad they have been. Among the things that cost them the game on Sunday, it was decision-making like that from Shane Steichen, and may have been his worst coach game of the season.
But you mentioned it. You have to have your playmakers out there. This isn't elementary football.
I should say career, not season, by the way. Sorry.
Well, that's a strong.
There's only been 2 games.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, I think you're right. You got to put your players out there. Regardless of what happened, he is still the best player on the field on that side of the ball for you. You've got to get him the ball. You've got to find a way to get him the ball. They weren't working anything else. And shout out to that Packers defense, though. I mean, the Packers D was playing pretty tough as well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Matt LaFleur found a way to get a quarterback that has not been any good and rarely played involved in a game and a positive in 6 days, mind you, the backup quarterback. And Matt LaFleur found a way, even if it didn't sustain in the second quarter, let's just say the damage was already done with Josh Jacobs in that game, especially in the first half. He found a way to go against what is supposed to be a Colts strength by going with what he felt was their lone alternative, running the football. So he coached it up, and he absolutely ran circles around the Colts at Lambeau on Sunday.
Yeah, and again, the Packers are at home. You got that spice of the home opener for them. Much like we'll probably see tonight in New York, right? I mean, we talked about Jets earlier. You got Aaron Rodgers. You got a bunch of fans that have never seen him play yet if they've not traveled because he's not played a full home game. He was out in the first 4 plays.
You're saying this could be an Al Michaels excited game.
This could
not just kind of half-assed it, sitting back there and cashing a check type of deal. And I love him to death.
I think so.
And maybe I'd do the same thing in a similar position, but maybe there's some excitement brewing.
There's a lot to it. You're right. There's an absolute lot to it.
Yeah, maybe so. I can't get into it, honestly. The Patriots, even though that was my big pick in week number 1, they don't really bring too much for me to get excited about. And it's not even so much Aaron Rodgers. I'm not anti-Aaron Rodgers. I really don't care. But I think everybody nationally, you know exactly what I'm talking about, with the Mike Greenberg presence all the time and the fact you got a 10 until noon right here with Greenberg and you are hit over the head with nonstop Jets conversation. It makes it about the least appealing matchup, I think, on the schedule in week number 3. Patriots and the Jets. I think easily.
It does, but again, I think that Aaron Rodgers' flair, right? I mean, he's been doing it for so long. Again, by not playing last year more than those first 4 snaps, I think there's a lot of people, especially Jets fans, that they're really pumped on this game. I'm kind of excited to see it because I still don't know who the Patriots are, right? Like we talk about it. And
I don't know if we're ever going to know who they are.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to be that kind of carte blanche mild team. They're
going to foul your picks is what they're going to do.
They are.
Because they're going to be 1 week, maybe tonight, they're going to look like a bucket of crap and stink, and you're going to go, well, I thought they would look better than that. Or maybe they come out and surprise everybody. Jacoby Brissett gets them down the field. They look pretty decent, get a good defensive output. So I think they're going to be that fly in the against the number ointment. Especially the first part of the year here with the Patriots.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, Stevenson's looked good in the backfield for him, though. He's been one kind of bright star for him. But, Jacoby's going to be that kind of game manager. Yeah. He's not going to be out there and be flashy. And I think if Rodgers can get out there and, watching some of his eyes looking at Lazard dropping the ball wide open, last week before Lazard had a really big game that week 1. Last week they struggled a little bit, but I think you're going to see a little bit. You got to look at the quarterbacks, right? Rodgers is notches above Brissett at home. I think there's going to be some spice there in New York tonight. I don't think you're going to be surprised or falling asleep in this game. It's going to be a lower scoring. I mean, the total's at 39.5, 38.5, I believe. But you still got Aaron Rodgers. He still has it in the arm. Doesn't have it in the legs as much anymore, but he's one of the brightest out there.
Got the Fever coming up later on tonight as well against the Washington Mystics. We'll talk about that outcome coming up on tomorrow's show once again. Joe's Grill, we're on Brook School Road, 116 on Brook School. We're here in Fishers, and we'd love to have you as well. We've got these samples flowing. We got Kelly Eisenhower. Ike is in the house right here, which we absolutely love. And I've heard, Brent, that our friend Ryan Miller, we're going to have the usual Nally going to be here, but Ryan Miller's taking care of some other things, so we've got a good friend of the show that's going to pinch hit for him today.
I've not heard this. So
Nick is pinch hitting.
Mr. Nick Hall.
I didn't know Nick was the general manager of both places.
He's a stud.
He is. I just thought he was just always here.
that too, right? That too.
Just always
well, that'll
here.
be. It's not going to be the same without Mr. Miller, but that's one of the best you can get to fill in right there. So looking forward to getting old Kent Murphy up here to talk us through some picks as well.
Oh man, cannot wait for that. Nick's going to be in here with Ryan Nally at 4:00. Hey, by the way, too. Any intrigue, any tidbits, any appetizers you have to offer here as far as games of interest besides talking up the Colts and the Bears and this Thursday nighter?
I'll tell you, I'm really excited for, and probably to no surprise of yourself, is that Packer game. And you know why?
I'm not surprised.
Right now they're an underdog.
On the road in Nashville.
They're a 2-point underdog.
Yeah.
And I think we might see a familiar quarterback make an appearance potentially coming back as early as Sunday.
Well, you think Jordan Love's coming back?
He practiced yesterday. He was out on the field. He's working towards it. I mean, they still might. It's Malik Willis. It's his kind of homecoming, if you will, to Tennessee. He might get the start, and they might not push him. They might see how he goes.
Don't you think they're just – I mean, LaFleur, they were so gamesmanship leading all the way up to Sunday, basically, with Jordan Love. So this is just a different layer of it, right? It's going to be Willis playing against the team that brought him in to the NFL and then gave up on him, right?
I think it could be. But, again, there's some good positivity coming out of the practice fields in the confines of Lambeau this week. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that brings. And the bright thing about that, though, is it's not that 3 to 6 weeks. It's definitely going to be on the shorter end of that Jordan Love was going to be suspected to be out.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of good games. It's just funny. You look at all these numbers. These numbers are, I think, you see more than 1 6.5, more than 1 2.5. Looks like Vegas, the odds makers, try to feel themselves out here, don't they, in the first couple of weeks of the season?
Yeah, and I think you've got 5-6 games that are between that number we spoke of a minute ago, between 6 and 8 points, and with Cincinnati being the biggest one on the board against Washington Commanders. So that one was at 8. A little bit of money came out of Washington on that. A lot of these games like tonight, the money was kind of going on the Jets. You're going to start to see that public kind of come around a little bit. But you got the Cleveland Browns at 6.5, right? They're playing the New York Giants. That's a pretty wild number. Also got Tampa Bay and Denver. Tampa sitting at 6.5.
I was a non-believer in the Browns last week, and they came back on the road against Jacksonville. Should have been a believer.
Should have. Hey, but again, that's why they play the games, John. That's why we look at them. They're going to get better as the weeks go on, or worse, or we're going to at least see what they're all about.
Well, it's my fault because I thought the AFC South was going to be better, and clearly 3-0-2 teams and 1-2-0 team, they are not better. So that's a bummer right there. And then last week, my bright idea in Nashville with the Titans didn't work out. And you saw how Brian Callahan saw how he does. He clearly doesn't like Will Levis. I don't know how that's going to go. I think that's going to end up going how it is going for Bryce Young in Carolina for that particular quarterback. And then Jacksonville kind of looks a lot like it ended the season in gag mode right now to start.
No, you're spot on. That Will Levis stuff. That is him, right? I mean, that's just his brain's not wiring correctly, making those little bad decisions, right? That cost you the game. Both weeks.
He's the reason why the Bears won that game.
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely right.
Week 1.
And then last, he's falling down and throws it in back.
Yep.
It's just, they're getting ready to go in. They could have tied it up. A lot of stuff. But you heard the coach, and he wasn't filtered on that one. He let it all out there, and I think that's going to either wake him up or, like you said, it's going to be the next quarterback change to come.
All right, we got the product flowing too, don't we? Heaven Hill Distillery, Brent, correct here at Joe's Grill.
We do, and Joe's Grill, what a great operation they have with 3 locations. You got Castleton, you got Fishers where we're at today, and you got Westfield, and then also Free Spirit in Castleton as well. They've got amazing offerings from Heaven Hill. We love all the Ryans and all the crew here at Joe's Fishers, and all the Joes. And come on out, and we'll have some. What's the terminology we're supposed to be using now?
I thought you knew that. Am I supposed to come up with it? Complimentary samples? Is that what I said? I think.
We'll have to ask Romy. Romy was dialed into that one.
Romy was. I think we're okay in that particular neighborhood.
But come on up. We'll get you a little taster, if you will.
Little taste of the good stuff right here with Heaven Hill Distillery. Our Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. You may close up again. If Filter came out with a 90s album again, I'd be on the cover right here, would I not? This looks like a Filter cover shot right there. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, the stream, the app. It's HD radio on a busy show. Kevin Fishbane covers the Bears for the Athletics, going to join us coming up next. Top of the hour, our Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Tom Thayer was on that offensive line with the Bears back in Super Bowl 20. Long time been the color analyst on the Bears radio network. Tom joins us coming up at 4:30. Not the Kiss guitarist, but Tom Thayer of the Bears Radio Network. And Mike Chappell coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, too. This reminder, tomorrow, the Chaparral, Southeastern, and Minnesota on the southeast side. We're going to have Bears-Colts tickets for you on a Bud Light Blue Friday. Just that reminder. But, hey, I want you to get here. Sprint here right now to 116 in Brook School. We are just getting started on this Thursday. Week 3 is upon us, and it's another Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots Thursday. Thank you all for joining us. Quick break. We'll come back. Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic talks Bears. Bottom of the hour. Stay right there. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day. Good. So what's the problem? I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, welcome back. We do have a JMV takeover. 6 to midnight Saturday night, B105.7. All request Saturday night, and a crap load of 80s stuff for you, like this one from Songs from the Big Chair and Tears for Fears, James. James, you notice I hit the post on that bad boy, too?
I did. It was almost like you're a professional.
Was that impressive right there? It was. Yeah, all requests Saturday night, the JMV takeover. A ton of 80s coming up on Saturday night. That's B105.7. This, 93.5, 107.5. The Fan, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. You can watch Inside the Lounge there on YouTube as well. The stream, the app, and it's HD radio live from Joe's Grill. Me and our betting analyst, Brent Halverson, with our Larceny Bourbon Locks. Luna Azul Tequila Shots for week number 3 of the NFL, which begins later on tonight. Meantime, Sunday, 1 o'clock. I'll get you started at 9 a.m. for the ride to kick off at the Bullseye Event Center with bullseyeeventgroup.com, and then touchdown town from 10 until noon, along with the Gorman, former Colts wide receiver Bill Brooks, and former offensive lineman Joe Wrights with the Colts pregame huddle. Of course, Bears, Colts week number 3, to shed a little bit of light in regarding what's going on in Chicago right now with that 1-1 start from the Athletic. Kevin Fishbane joins us now again on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, Kevin, thank you so much for the time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
All right, so what are we looking at right here? I watched, obviously, because I'm watching Austin Booker. Austin Booker, my daughter goes to Center Grove High School as a freshman. Austin Booker is a grad of Center Grove, played at Minnesota and Kansas, and I was kind of curious on the 53-man, you know, how much action he might get, and I saw him on special teams on Sunday. But overall, how does this thing look? Give me the most cohesive aspect of this Bears squad to your eyes so far.
Oh, well, it's the defense. It's by a country mile. You know, it's a veteran group. They played together last year. They brought back 9 starters from that team last season that finished the season strong. They've been really good through 2 weeks. Have allowed 3 points after halftime in those 2 games. So, you know, it's a group of, you know, secondaries, probably one of the best in football. Linebacking group, probably one of the best in football. They've got a guy in Montez Sweat who's a Pro Bowler, defensive end. So the defense is playing like a cohesive unit. It's playing like one of the better units in football right now through 2 games. Now they've had to kind of play at a Herculean level for them to win the first game, and then for them to even have a chance at winning the second game. And you know, so you're asking a lot for them to kind of keep that pace up if their offense isn't going to score touchdowns.
It seems to me like this could be a tough afternoon talking about the combination against Anthony Richardson, who obviously is rebooted, Kevin, his rookie season here, and you bring up the secondary with the addition of guys that consistently can give pressure. This doesn't, at least on paper, on the surface, seem like a really strong quarterback, young, inexperienced quarterback to defensive matchup, at least on paper right now.
Yeah, you know, the defense is playing well, and I like all defenses, they love to get opportunity to play a young quarterback who hasn't seen a lot of looks. You know, I'm sure that Matty Rufus is going to throw things at Anthony Richardson that Anthony Richardson's never seen before, and that's going to be a big part of that matchup, a big part of that game. It's kind of a quirk in the schedule. Anthony Richardson's the third quarterback from his draft class in a row the Bears have faced. They started with Levis in week 1. They faced C.J. Stroud last week, and Stroud looked really good in the first half and was very average in the second half. So, yeah, that's going to be one of the key things, because obviously if the Bears are able to force turnovers, which Richardson's had that issue in the first 2 weeks, that's going to go a big way to their offense, which has really struggled to get off the ground.
So Kevin Fishbane, again, from The Athletic, covers the Bears on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Jalen Johnson is comparable to whom in that secondary, in your opinion? And where would you rank him right now among the hierarchy of corners, cover guys in the NFL at this moment?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, Jalen's got to be probably top 5 corner in football right now, I would say. For Bears fans, there's a little bit of a, Charles Tillman just in terms of the way he's able to make plays in the football, at least he has the past 2 years. He's probably a little bit better in man coverage potentially than Tillman, who could, I think should be considered for the Hall of Fame one day. But Johnson he can play man or zone. He's got the speed to stay with receivers downfield. The biggest thing that was keeping him from getting that big contract was that he did not have the plays in the football, and he turned that around last year in a big way, and he's had a couple big plays already, and you're seeing quarterbacks who don't throw his way. He's really anointed himself as one of the better corners in football.
Kevin, you look at the offense, too. We'll go over this. They've got some skill position dudes, and, we'll certainly run through them in a second. But I'm kind of curious, regarding the last 2 weeks, the Colts' vaunted defensive front has been absolutely shredded on the ground. Whether we're talking about Joe Mixon against the Texans or talking about Josh Jacobs in the first half against the Packers. Are the Bears capable with DeAndre Swift and this offensive line, you think, to replicate what has been done offensively against the Colts up front in the first 2 weeks of the season?
Based on what I've seen the past 2 weeks, I'd say no. What is this? It's the immovable object versus the, whatever the opposite is of a strength versus strength matchup. You've got a weakness versus a weakness matchup here, where the Bears have not really been able to run the ball at all. DeAndre Swift had 14 carries for 18 yards against Houston. And as you said, the Colts have given up a lot of rushing yards. So, look, if there's ever a week for the Bears to figure it out, you would think it'd be this week. This would be the opportunity to do so against Indianapolis. But I'm sure that folks in Indianapolis are looking at this Bears team being like, wow, if there's ever a week for our run defense to figure it out, this is the week to do it. So, something's going to have to give. I do think the Bears are going to want to get the run game established. So, that's going to be, as I said, it's like not the interesting matchup, right? Because you're talking about two things that teams are struggling with, but it really could turn the game if one of those two sides is able to have a better game than what they've shown the past 2 weeks.
Hey, I talked to Jarrett Payton yesterday for an extended period of time, and he talked about one of the slow starters among, many, positionally speaking, on this Bears offense is that of the offensive line. Is there any place you can point the finger to right now that actually is doing the job that you would hope to see? And I guess to go along with that, is there any hope of any reclamation type of project in the not-so-distant future for that group?
Yeah, no one is doing it well consistently. I think Darnell Wright, the right tackle, is probably the best one up front, and he had some struggles late in that game last week. Tevin Jenkins has Pro Bowl abilities at guard, and he had a couple of plays that he wants back from the first 2 weeks. So, they're just not really getting all 5 guys on the same page and playing as a cohesive unit yet. There's a couple. They have a couple of veterans as backups. They lost a couple of guys to injury. But this is the group that they kind of went with. This is the group they were excited about, and this group has not been playing up to the in-house expectations for them. I think a lot of Bears fans, and frankly some of us who cover the team, aren't that surprised. We kind of all considered this as maybe one of the weaker points, but it's been way worse than any of us expected through 2 games. And it had a lot to do with that. Look, as Colts fans saw, the Texans have some really good players on the defensive line, and as Colts fans will see, the Tennessee Titans' interior defensive line could be one of the better ones in football. They had a really good game in Soldier Field in Week 1. So, the Bears' offensive line has definitely been an issue 2 weeks into the season.
All right. Again, Kevin Fishbane covers the Bears for The Athletic on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. This is kind of a two-parter right here. Where are the fans? Where's the media with Matt Eberflus, somebody we know well here as the former defensive coordinator of the Colts? And then factor in a level of trust that people may have up in the Windy City of Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator.
Well, there's the fans were certainly split on Matt Eberflus after the season. I think a lot of people saw an opportunity for the Bears to go find an offensive-minded head coach and pair him with Caleb Williams. But, Matt Eberflus did a really nice job at the end of last season keeping this thing together, getting the defense on track, and he's got a really good relationship with Ryan Poles, the general manager. So, I think that we obviously the defensive stuff is good, but he is the head coach. He's in charge, and this team has not really run a great offense through 2 weeks with a lot of good weapons, and then obviously last season. So then you look at Shane Waldron, and 2 weeks in, he's experiencing what very, very many Bears offensive coordinators have throughout the years, which is a lot of critiques on talk radio and in the media and from fans. And that's going to happen when you are 32nd out of 32 teams in yards per play 2 weeks into the season. It's going to happen when you're allowing your rookie quarterback to get sacked 7 times and hit 11 times in his second career start. So it's been it's probably been a difficult week. I hope Shane Waldron's not been scrolling social media to search his name because he's, as I said, lots of Bears offensive coordinators have gone through the ringer here in Chicago. It took Waldron only 2 weeks.
Hey, Kevin, Cole Kmet, more blocking than certainly been a pass catching at all threat. Is that a product of the offensive line certainly struggling, or is there more to just how things have been coached up here offensively with him?
Yeah, there's a couple ways to look at it because I do think, as you said, he helps the offensive line. He's a good blocker, so why not use him? I also think at least a couple games in, we're not seeing the tight ends be featured in the passing game like we kind of expected. So maybe that's something they try to get more of this week because, look, he's a good player. He's a young player. He's put up some good numbers in his career. But sometimes it's been hard for play callers to find out the right way to utilize him. So part of that is, a factor of the fact that he can do both, that he can block for you, he can pass protect for you, and he can catch passes for you. And when your offensive line's struggling, you'd like to have another guy in. So I'm sure the Bears would love to be able to just block with 5 and have Cole Kmet out there running routes. But if they need him to protect Caleb Williams, he's going to have to do a little bit of that on Sunday as well.
What's been your impression? One more two-parter, then I got to bail on you here. Caleb Williams, your impression, the rookie quarterback and the rookie receiver, Rome Odunze, his health, along with Keenan Allen. I happen to think, I don't know if you agree or not, happen to think with Allen out there, that's a big difference maker, not having a guy like that so far. Where's his health, and what about the rookies? Not only the health of Odunze, but obviously what you've seen through 2 weeks of Caleb Williams under center.
Yeah, I'll start with Caleb. I joked with somebody the other day that when you cover the Bears as long as I have, you kind of get used to poor quarterback play. So I feel like I know it when I see it. And I don't think I've seen that from Caleb Williams necessarily. I think there's a lot that's gone wrong around him. I think he's making the right reads. Certainly it could be more accurate, but we've seen him be more accurate. So I think I know he has it in him. So I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. It's only been 2 games, and a lot has gone wrong in front of him. Losing Keenan Allen, as you mentioned, I think really hurt the offense last week. That is he's Mr. Reliable. We'll get the practice report shortly here. But that's just going to be, might just be a pain tolerance thing. So your guess is as good as mine if he's able to go on Sunday. And Rome Odunze, he played through that knee injury last week and, played a lot and, he gutted it out. So I would expect him to find a way to do that again this Sunday. It's just a pain tolerance thing, and he was able to manage that pain in Houston. And I think the Bears would love to get him going, to get him on track as well, because that's supposed to be this great duo, obviously, of Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, but we haven't gotten to see it yet.
Yeah, you look at it again, a lot of things on paper don't translate to something on the field, but I would agree, helping out your quarterback with the skill position talent they have right now, you just haven't seen a lot of help, I guess, for this group, and it's been all defense for the first 2 weeks. That's Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic. He covers the Bears. Kevin, great breakdown, man. I appreciate that very much. Safe travels down 65, and I'm assuming we'll see you up at the press box at some point coming up on Sunday, man. Thanks for the time today.
I will be there. Thank you for having me.
Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Keenan Allen, I just thought with this group right here, that would be a guy that would be incredibly helpful, but battling through injury. And Caleb Williams, obviously still searching right now, kind of just like what you see Anthony Richardson doing right now in that reboot of his rookie season, still searching too.
Yeah, and Caleb Williams, I think at the true test, I mean, for him, he just didn't have time. He has zero time back there. Yeah. So they've got all these great weapons that they've added on the offense with the receivers and running game, all this stuff. But that offensive line doesn't give you any time to do it. It's going to be tough to get started.
It's Brett Halverson right here. I'm John. We'll come back top of the hour. We've got our Large City Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots with Ryan Nally. My man Nick is here as well, going to give his picks. And we've got what we normally do on a Thursday. We've got the flowing complimentary sampling going on here of the great products under the Heaven Hill Distillery umbrella. Tom Thayer from the Bears Radio Network, the former offensive lineman, going to join us in the 4 o'clock hour. And Mike Chappell coming up after 5. Yacht Rock Review tickets I'll give away, and Bullseye passes also for that Sunday morning party gathering that's going to make your game day experience. That opportunity is coming up in just a bit as well, so sit tight. Joe's Grill, 116 in Brook School. We're in Fishers on this Thursday afternoon with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a I want you to be nice.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Right, James? Unless they take your record studio away, then you're not going to be nice. You're going to beat somebody's ass. That's what's going to happen. When is that going to happen? When do I get to kick the crap out of somebody when I get back in the studio? Is that Monday, James?
I think that's
Monday
next
or Tuesday?
week. I think it's next Tuesday.
Oh, cool. Okay. I can wait, though. I can be salty on a Monday or Tuesday just as much as I can on a Thursday or Friday, man. I'm equal opportunity saltiness right here. Dev's the on-site engineer. We've got, I believe, Kevin and Chris here working the promotions. We are at Joe's Grill in Fishers at 116 and Brook School. His name is Brent Halverson. He is our betting analyst. I am JMV. I'm just a clown, a boob, a knob that really doesn't know what he's talking about, but just happens to fit the seat in which he is sitting in right now. And we're talking about Week 3 of the NFL. We've got our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots, Brent, coming up here at 4, don't we?
We do, and we've got another special guest picker, as you mentioned today.
Guest picker.
Excited to have Mr. Nick Hall join us up here with Mr. Nally as well. But, yeah, Week 3, you know, things are moving along pretty quickly. You got to watch and see what happens first couple weeks. A lot of dogs barking last week, John, as we saw from kind of the what's happening around the world. And you know what else I did read? There is a big percentage of people already that are out of their survivor leagues because of the Bengals Week 1, the Ravens, and you name a host of them last week that just knocked people out. So it's a crazy season the way to start the season. So we got Week 3. We'll see if we can't get the things back on track.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Especially I got to get a rebound or something here. What was I last week? 4 and what? 4 and 12?
4 and 12.
Yeah, I need a rebound. We talk about pickers and stuff. I've been better off picking my nose or my rear than picking the games last week. You know, it's absurd.
It was there were some interesting outcomes of those games.
What was I in Week 1 too?
You were 9, 4, and 3. We did 3 pushes.
4
week,
and 3 in Week 1 to 4 and 12. What? And see, that's the sign of somebody that doesn't know their ass from their hole in the ground. Seriously.
It's also a sign of what's going on in the NFL, right? I mean, look at another stat, too. These quarterbacks, they're not throwing the ball. They're not putting up the big yards and touchdowns like in years past. I mean, it's a lot of running out there, a lot of running games, a lot of totals that are really low in the sub-40s and in the 30s, too. So that tells you a little bit about the game schemes, too.
Hey, B. Kelly, how long you got here? You want to come over here really quick? Hey, I'm going to give you 45 seconds. I got to hit a break because James is easy, dude. Settle down there, Ingle Puke. We got you handled here. I do have to hit a break, but Brian Kelly of the shop in Broad Ripple and Carmel is over there with his bros. How are your bros over there?
We were just at a golf outing sponsored by Evan Hill.
That's right. Love to hear it, man.
Evan Hill, yeah.
Man, Ingle Puke over there's got his head on backwards, just waiting for somebody to punch his lights out.
He's wearing a free hat from the golf outing.
He is.
Yeah.
Hey, talk about what you got going on before I hit this break, buddy.
You know, we've got all of our winter stuff's coming out. You know, the Colts sales are a little terrible right now, but.
Oh, good. Good. All right.
But, I mean, as long as the Fever keep winning and get the playoffs, like all of our Feeling 22 stuff has been crazy. All of our Fever-related items are blowing up. So, I mean, if IU keeps winning, that helps us too. So, I mean, you'll start seeing all
We're going to have a contract with everybody around here pretty soon,
right?
man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just got a contract with a NASCAR team.
You did?
Hendrick.
Nice.
So you'll see probably the holidays. We'll probably put some stuff out for that. We can do vintage Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson,
nice.
Terry Labonte, Jeff Boda, and all their current.
Tony Donahue will buy all of those.
Right, yeah.
I know it. All right, my brother, stay in touch. Get some JMV takeovers back out there.
We can do that.
All right, we're ready to go.
Yeah. I think I gave you the last of the stock.
You did, man. We're ready to roll. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Brian Kelly of the shop, man. Great T-shirts and new NASCAR relationships going on right there. Quick break. We'll come back. Joe's Grill. We're in Fishers 116 in Brook School. Hey, James, quickly before the break, you know what I'm going to do?
What's up?
Every time I do production now from here on out, I'm going to eat tuna in the studio.
Oh, God.
Every single time. Tuna lunch in the studio during production, James. That's my recourse. Quick break. We'll come back. Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, Joe's Grill, Fishers next.
JMV.
And the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Joe's Grill. Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Good. Echo and the Bunnymen. Re-entry right here, James. Well done. Lips like sugar. Brent Halverson is here. We'll be joined by special guest at Joe's Grill at 116 in Brook School in just a second for our Week 3 Larceny Bourbon Locks. Luna Azul Tequila Shots. However, you have a special announcement to make. Brent.
I do. A big day today, John. So, our wonderful daughter, Sage Berkeley, she turned 12 today. So, happy birthday to you, Sage. I know she's out there.
I love the Sager.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. We love you, girlie, and we'll see you tonight. Do a little bit more celebrating.
Happy birthday, Sagey.
Are we going somewhere to celebrate tonight?
You know, Sierra's got a volleyball game, so we're going to do that. And
Where's Sierra play tonight? Mount Vernon.
Yep, at Mount Vernon. Yeah, absolutely.
Sierra's a superstar.
She's good, but both of our girls are awesome.
What? Here's my level of knowing stuff. I know the Colts, and people would argue that. I know the Pacers, and then I know Mount Vernon volleyball from you and Greg Blanc.
There you go, my friend.
Hey. That's right. That's like third on my list, Mount Vernon volleyball.
That's the top 3 you need to know right there.
That's right there. So where are you guys tonight?
They're at home playing in Mount Vernon.
Oh, there you go. All right. Sager, happy birthday.
I know Dan Stubing from pickleball tournament.
Absolutely.
If you know anything about that. You know.
Yeah, great guy.
Are you guys playing pickleball over there?
No, it was a joke, John. Continue on.
Are you going to get I was going to get you in our pickleball thing coming up here soon.
I'm in.
Why don't do you play?
I mean, it's tennis, isn't it?
It's like wiffle tennis.
Stand-up ping pong.
My mom can do it, so you probably.
I'm going to kick the crap. I've never played it in my life, and I'm going to just absolutely.
Too sturdy.
If Dustin Wilson can do it, we can do it.
Well,
I have never played in my life, and with this tournament thing we're having, I'm going to beat the hell out of everybody.
Well, all the weight loss that you've had.
Never. I'm going to be moving on. I'm like Stefan Edberg, moving from side to side,
Dustin
back
Wilson,
and forth.
Dub from Free Spirit, he's lost a bunch of weight by playing pickleball, or is it these?
My serve and volley game is going to be Stefan Edberg-like.
I like it.
with his wiffle ball that I'm using and this ping pong paddle.
Martina Navratilova.
We got, thank you. That is Ryan Nally over there. Nick, you still doing the Ken Murphy stuff, right?
I still do a little bit, yep. Not
a little
full
bit?
time, yeah, I'm here. These guys got me handcuffed here,
well,
so,
Speaking of handcuffs, September's a big month for Nick. So
is it really? Yeah. In what way? In what fashion?
It's just business.
We've moved on.
Yeah,
have you now?
He's not wearing a helmet anymore.
Handcuffed in what fashion? All right, you guys ready to do some picks here? And by the way, let's give a shout out to Ryan Miller, who normally is here as well, but he is smoking meat right now.
He is
brisket
meat
in brisket.
Yes, we have a big event on Saturday, which is Theraplay, and nobody smokes meat like Brian Miller. He's got about 40 brisket burnt ends working.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, he picked up my Traeger from the house, and he spent all night. He's low on sleep right now.
Well, we miss him here, but we got Nick here to pick up the slack.
Hey, we got Garrett Miller back there representing the Miller crew.
We do.
Got
that Green Bay stuff.
I'd rather have Kara up here than Garrett.
I understand. You guys ready to go?
I'm ready.
Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. James, let's sound. Thank you very much. Ryan Nally knows the show. We start week 3 with the Patriots and the Jets tonight in the Meadowlands. That's on Prime. The Jets, last check, are 6-point favorites. I hate it. I'm going to lay the 6. Brent, give me the Jets.
Yeah, we talked a lot about your Patriots. You were on the first 2 weeks. They did upset the Bengals week 1. They didn't pull it out last week. The Jets, they're sitting at 1-1 as well. This is their first home game. We talked earlier. Aaron Rodgers is back. The fans have not had a chance to see him yet. I think the Jets are going to come out and get this one done tonight. Give me the New York Jets. Lay the 6, 23-13.
What do you got, Nels?
The love that Harvey has for the Aaron Rodgers project is amazing. But I'm Jets, Jets.
Nick.
I got the Patriots to cover the 6.
John's got another game for you. Giants, the Browns. I wanted to write them off, and all of a sudden they went down to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville gagged again, starting out 0-2 in their home opener. Giants and Browns. The Browns are 6.5-point favorites at home. Can't trust it. You just simply cannot, but I'm going to go ahead and lay the points anyway. Give me the Browns, Brent.
Yeah, this is an ugly game. I probably will lay off this for sure, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Brownies as well. 26-16. They get the cover.
What do you got over there now?
Yeah, I'm going to take Mr. Massage and those brownies.
What do you got over there, Nick?
I don't think either one of these teams are good enough to cover more than 3 points either way. I'm taking the Giants to cover it.
If there has been a team that was completely written off to start the season that has been most impressive so far, what about the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold? Now, we're going to see the test they get coming up at home versus the 2-0 Houston Texans. The Texans a 2-point road favorite. Now, I'm going to do, Tommy S. is going to be excited, Brent. I'm going to go ahead and take the points and give me the Vikings in Minneapolis. Tommy S. shout out. Brent.
Hey, they have looked good. They have looked really good. I mean, they're sitting pretty strong right now. They're sitting at 2-0. They're averaging 25 points per game, but I tell you, I think the Houston Texans squad, I really like this squad. I think they come out strong, although the second half has been kind of weak for them of each game. But give me the Houston Texans to go in and get the W, lay the 2.
Ryan Nelly.
Tommy S. is my boy from Coach's Tavern. But he's an angry little guy, man. He's not gonna like me right now. I'm going against you, Tommy. I'm taking them Houston Texans.
Nick, tell us.
I got the Vikings. Sam Darnold's the truth. Everybody knows it's always been that way.
It has been that way. You and Jeffrey Gorman are the only ones that believe that.
Situation forever.
Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, week number 3. Hey, by the way, if anybody can offer up some LASIK eye surgery, I would take it right now because I can't see a damn thing.
If we can get a 2-for-1, John, I'd join you.
Eagle, yeah, we'll do that too. If anybody can offer up LASIK eye surgery, I am here. Lay the 2.5 for the Saints. They have been a story of the NFL for the first 2 weeks, especially offensively. Clint Kubiak. Yes, the family name lingers on as their offensive coordinator. Eagles, I don't think the Eagles fans have been happy about this. 2.5-point favorites in New Orleans. This is one where you watch the Eagles end up winning this, but I'm going to go ahead and lay the 2.5 and give me the red hot to start. Saints, Brent Halverson.
Speaking of red hot, they're averaging 45 points a game, John. They've come out shooting. They've looked great. But alas, not so fast. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles to fly high. Go in there and get the W. In New Orleans, Eagles 28-27 in a big old shootout.
Now,
my disdain for the Eagles after Monday night's performance to end that is just not going to carry me into this week. Go ahead, Saints, when they go marching in.
Nicholas.
If Sam Darnold's not the truth, Derek Carr is. I'm taking the Saints.
Man, Jim Harbaugh has himself a shelf life, but it is glorious before you get to that point, is it not? The Chargers start the season 2-0. Another trip across the country to Pittsburgh coming up on Sunday. They are... It's interesting, too. Pittsburgh, 1.5-point favorites at home. I'm going to take that 1.5 and give me the Chargers to start 3-0, Brent Halverson, against the Steelers, who, by the way, invade Lucas Oil Stadium in Week 4.
You know, I like the call, John. A battle of 2-0 teams right here. I think the Chargers are poised to go in there and get some action. Pittsburgh just hasn't shown any kind of offense. I mean, they're game managing well. Fields is game managing. They got a great field goal kicker. I don't think it's going to be enough. Give me the Chargers to go in there. Get the win, 23-20.
We're going to take the Chargers.
What about you, Nick?
Well, if there's two things that are sure in the NFL, Russell Wilson's going to be weird, and the Steelers will find a way to win. Taking the Steelers.
They said that Bo Nix couldn't play in the SEC, so how can you play in the NFL?
Justin Fields is quarterback.
Yes, Justin Fields.
He's still weird. Yeah, he's still weird.
He's got his eye black on, waiting to do a Subway commercial. We're all rooting for him.
Damn it, I had a great transition right there. Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. So Bo Nix, people said he can't make the transition from the, not being able to play in the SEC, coming from Oregon and being a starter of the NFL. It's been a struggle so far for the Broncos, for the rookie quarterback, on the road against the glorious Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers. What about that team to finish off last year? What about that team so far this season? Laid that 6.5. This one, Brent's an easy one for me. Buccaneers all the way.
I like the Bucs too. I mean, the Bucs are averaging 28 points per game. The Broncos don't really score a whole lot. They're averaging 13. I think you're right. Baker Mayfield, he's found his spot. He's got some good weapons down there. I think the Bucs go ahead and pull this out. They cover the 6.5. Give me the Bucs, and what's going to go with a score of 27-17 over Denver.
Now,
Baker Mania. I believe in him right now. Go ahead, Bucs.
Nick.
Yep, I'll never pick him against Baker. I got the Bucs as well.
Brent Halverson is just absolutely thrilled with the way the Packers came back last week, running all over the Colts in that first half. And there's Malik Willis. Matt LaFleur just clowning on the Colts coaching staff, including Shane Steichen. Can they keep it up? It looks like that there's some trickery going on here. So Jordan Love taking some practice snaps. Will he play? Or is this a lot of sandbagging and some gamesmanship? I think Willis is going to get the start in the place that drafted him in Nashville. However, 2-point favorites at home of the Titans is a bit surprising, which Vegas thinks obviously Willis is going to get that start. Lay the 2 and give me the Titans. I'm going to ride this thing until it bucks me. They haven't given me any reason to take him so far. I'm going to lay the 2. Give me the Titans.
I love to hear that, John, because this is one of my favorite plays of the week right here. I love seeing Jordan Love back at practice a little bit yesterday. Like you mentioned, I think Malik still might get the start, but Love's going to be there to come in if he needs to. That Packer defense has been what's really just kind of got me all fired up, looking good. Will Levis looks like he's going to throw the ball to Nally in the third row over there. He doesn't know where he's going with the ball.
I hope I'm sitting in the third row because I don't run.
Well, you can at least be there to get. You won't even catch it. Won't even get near you if he's throwing it to you.
I got hands. I'll catch it.
Not only is this going to be, I'm going to take Green Bay +2. I'd always buy that to 3. I'm going to get a double shot of Larceny Locks coming this week. I'm locking up Green Bay Packers. They get the win 24-17. They go into Tennessee. W.
Now
go Pack, go.
What you talking about, Willis? We're going Packers.
Nick, tell us.
Malik Willis, revenge tour, man. I'm taking the Packers.
All right, Panthers and the Raiders. The Panthers are turning now to Andy Dalton, which means basically the career is over for Bryce Young in Carolina. You say goodbye. People all the time say, well, what about Joe Flacco instead of Anthony Richardson? And I say, hey, numbnuts. All right, no. That means everybody needs fired, and that means everything is screwed up. So do not do what Carolina is doing. They're screwed right now, honestly. 5-point dogs on the road in Vegas. Lay the 5. Give me the Raiders, Brett Halverson.
John, do you know how many points Carolina scored in the first 2 weeks?
Not too many.
13. They average 6.5 per game. They've not done well. I think the best thing they could have done is bring Dalton in, move on, and time to go that way. I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. The Raiders kind of, they look all right. You got Devontae. You got some weapons there. I mean, it's a big number for the Raiders when I first saw this game, but it's against Carolina. They just don't have it. Give me the Raiders 24-15.
Nick. No, I'm sorry. Nows. We could have gone in a different order, though, if we wanted to. I don't care.
Whenever you're ready, John. Okay. Just let me know.
Nows.
The Now Nutta. This is the Now Nutta's Larceny Lock of the Week. Going the Raiders.
I like that.
Nice.
Nick, now it's your turn.
I think the Red Rifle shocks the world, and they lose by less than 20. Give me the Raiders.
The Dolphins without Tua on the road, cross country to Seattle. 4.5-point favorites are the Seahawks. Lock this one up for me this week, would you, Brent?
Sure.
I think I'm locking up like everyone right now. I'm just kind of pissy about week 2. Lock this one up. Give me the Seahawks all over the Fins. Brent.
They've got a big offense. They got a lot of weapons. We talked Skylar Thompson. We talked the point move. It moved about 8 points from when it was what it would have been if Tua was in there. I'm going to go ahead and say that Seattle probably wins this game, but I'm going to take Miami to cover. Give me Miami Dolphins +4.5. Seattle wins 23-20.
Now,
we're taking Sea Chickens.
Nick.
I got the Seahawks.
Understand that with our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Week number 3 with the Lions on the road in Arizona. The Lions are 3-point favorites. You know what? I think the Lions are going to struggle with that Cardinal offense. Kyler Murray is reborn. It's like me right here before you. Reborn as a man. Kyler Murray under center for the Cardinals. I dig it. So give me that upset at home for the Cardinals, the home dogs against the Lions, Brent.
I got you. I'm right there with you, John. I think this is going to be the highest scoring game on the board this week.
My muscle mass is down, though. I got to work on that.
But you look great, my friend. You look great. 33 pounds down.
33 pounds right now. Yeah.
Looking good.
Man, wait till I get my testosterone level up, and I'm going to be an animal.
You are so close to a cheetah thong. It's unbelievable.
Oh, hey, let's get back to non-cheetahs.
I'm not wearing any more shorts further than my thigh anymore now.
To use the calling of my good buddy across the table,
I'm going to be smuggling grapes for the rest of my life now.
Give me the Arizona Cardinals to get the W here, 31-30 in a big old shootout, but I'm going to get 3 points with it. Arizona +3.
Nows.
All right, I think Nate Campbell's going to have to light a fire into that team after losing last weekend at home. Taking those Lions.
What do you got over there, Nick?
For my buddy Eric Rosenthal, my second favorite bar in the world behind all the Joes, the Old Shillelagh. Detroit versus everybody. Give me Detroit.
This is a classic game coming up of what in the world is going on with the Ravens. What in the world is going on with the Cowboys? Not everybody giggles about the Ravens, but I'm assuming most people are giggling about the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they're getting a point at home against the Ravens, and the Ravens kind of look like, you know what, we haven't played that bad, but what the hell, look where we are right now. I'm going to go ahead and take that point and give me the Cowboys at home. I think the woes continue for John Harbaugh and the Ravens to start this season, and staring 0-3 right in the face coming up this weekend, Brent.
I don't see that happening. I think Baltimore finds a way to go in there and get this done. Baltimore starting 0-3 would be just way upside down from where I pictured them at.
Sure.
They're still putting up some points. I think it's a close game. Baltimore goes in there, lay the one. Baltimore 27-24 over Dallas.
What do you got now?
I don't find any giggles about the money I've lost on the Ravens, so we're going to.
Darn it.
We're going to go ahead and lay that point, and Ravens go into Dallas and do their job.
Dang it, Nick. What do you got?
I think Jerry goes into the locker room and shakes them down. Give me the Cowboys.
29ers and the Rams. So Cooper Kupp's going to be gone for a while. And the Rams look like at times they can really get something done. Then at other times you got no Kupp. You got no Puka Nacua. That is problematic across the board. But in my incredible wisdom, given the fact the Rams are getting 7 points, they're at home where nobody cares in Southern California about them regardless. I'm going to go ahead and take them. Give me the points and give me the Rams. I have no idea. That is the dumbass pick of the week right there because it makes zero. I made 0 sense to make the pick in the fashion, Brent, in which I did. But that's it for week 3. Go ahead.
Yeah. Everything you said was spot on. Your pick was not really spot on
for
my,
wasn't, man.
my vision.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to go against you there. I mean, it's a big number, but like I say, it's not really a home game for the Rams. I think it's going to be more of a home game for San Fran. San Fran laying the 7. They go in there and get the win. 27-17.
Now.
Niners.
Nick.
Yeah, 7 points makes no sense. Both teams missing key guys on offense. I have no idea. Niners.
I can't be the only one sitting around waiting for the Chiefs to just screw something up here, man. They always come out smelling like the rose at the end. They can do this and do that. And believe me, I want Carson Steele to play the Center Grove product because he's going to get a lot of time now, obviously. They bring in Kareem Hunt. He's on the practice squad at running back. I do want to see it. I think at the same time I want to see the Chiefs kind of get their comeuppance a little bit, if that makes sense to you. I think maybe the Falcons can do that at home. The Falcons are sneaky talented, as we saw on Monday night. The Falcons at home getting 3.5 against the Chiefs. Just enough defense, some Bijan Robinson running the football, and timely mattered plays by Kirk Cousins. Brent gets it done. Give me the Falcons.
Well, Mr. Nally, what's our saying? No Falcon way. It is. There's a Falcon way today. I tell you.
Don't you want to see the Chiefs eat it once?
I do.
Carson Steele, but
they're
the
really good. Now I will start this off. We always pick a player that was on the waiver wire. Should be on the waiver wire. It's in this game for me. My Lunazul Tequila Shot of the Week in fantasy is going to be our boy Carson Steele.
I love Carson Steele.
I like Carson Steele.
Shout
I like
out
his
to Carson
grit.
Steele.
Ball State University. Chirp chirp. But they're not going to get it done. They're not going to get the cover. I think they can win the game. I'm going to say Chiefs win 26-24. Give me Atlanta plus 3.5.
He has a pet alligator, too. Did you know that?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
Love Carson Steele. You know, they got like 4 guys from Indiana on their team. You know that, right? Kansas City's Team Indiana. I'm sorry, Nals.
Really?
Go ahead. Yeah, 4 different dudes.
I thought it was like 2.
Come on, man. 4.
All right.
You think I just made that up?
I don't know, man.
Go ahead now. I do commonplace. I make stuff up.
No Falcon way stuff. No Falcon way. We're taking Falcons in those points.
Got you there. What you got, Nick?
I was going to go with the diehard TV edit. The Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Oh, yes, Die Hard. God dang. See, you listen to the show, Nick. You know, man.
Yeah.
Die Hard television edit right there. Large City Bourbon Lock, Saloon, Azul, Tequila Shots, Week 3, Jaguars, Bills. The Jaguars, much like the AFC South so far, other than the Texans, laughable to start the season and really reclaiming their position of being laughable as they were toward the end of the season on the road in Buffalo. This is a lofty, what is that right now, 5 or 6? I can't see. 5-point favorites for Buffalo. Yeah, I don't care. Take Buffalo, lay the 5. Give me the Bills.
This is my second part of my larceny double shot, larceny lock of the week, and it is going to be on the Buffalo Bills. Lay the 5. I mean, again, Jacksonville's had trouble even scoring, averaging 15 points a game. Buffalo's going to go out there. They're going to fire away. They're averaging 30-plus points a game. Buffalo, -5, larceny lock of the week, ×2, Bills.
Nels!
This is a game I'm going to roll with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh. What you got?
I got the Bills.
All right, where are we right now? Commanders and the Bengals. You know, the Bengals did not look bad against Kansas City, but that Kansas City stuff, they're surviving. There's Harrison Butker. They play for the 50-yarder, and he knocks it home, right?
Well, they also have the officials on their side.
Oh, you think the officials are on their side, too? Well, the Bengals, the one thing the Bengals did is get better. However, that's a big 7.5 number, and it looks like teams around the NFL, at least early on, have struggled with that. So, Jaden Daniels, the rookie quarterback for the Commanders, I'm going to take the Commanders on the road. Just give me that 7.5, more so than anything else. Give me Washington and Cincinnati. Brent, what do you got? I believe those are one of 2 Monday nighters this week, too, by the way.
I like it, John. I mean, Cincinnati.
Right
a little
something special right there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 7.5. That's that number right there, right? I mean, that's a little bit stout for me. I think the Bengals could win it by a touchdown. I don't know if they cover that 7.5. Give me the Washington Commanders plus 7.5 on the road.
What's your thoughts, Nels?
I think Bengals come out and redeem themselves wholeheartedly.
Nick!
7.5 is too big. I'm taking the Commanders.
See, I'm right there with you on that. That's the only reason why.
It's a huge number in the NFL.
The only reason why. All right. Must-win situation, 1 o'clock coming up on Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium. Lucas Oil Stadium is going to be lousy with Bears fans. I mean, absolutely lousy. You know that. Will be silent counts from Richardson and the Colts offense. All that's going to be happening. However, you have to get this win. I don't care what you thought about this team this year. You did not think about them in terms of starting 0-3. Now, do I have confidence in this pick? Absolutely, positively not. But what I'm going to do coming up on Sunday with the Bears and the Colts, I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts 1.5-point favorites at home. That final, Brent, 23-16. I think the team that gets over 20 is going to be the winner. That is going to be the Colts. I don't feel that confident, but 0-3 is something I simply don't want to have to deal with on Monday, so I'm selfish as hell. Brent, what do you got?
I think this is a get-right spot for the Colts. I really, truly do. I think there's going to be some serious activity going on. I think that Bears offensive line, though, we've got to find a way to penetrate that line. I did say penetrate now. You got that right, my man. I think you're going to
What's the over-under you're going to use penetrate
I like the
segment.
Colts to come in and get right on this one. Give me the Colts 24-20 over the Bears.
Nouse.
I told my son Riley, and I told Riley and Max, there's no way I can go against the Bears or go against the Colts. Colts.
Yeah, I went to the game Sunday in Green Bay. It's my 4th time up there.
Go Pack,
Did you go with Miller?
It's a great. Yeah,
Did Miller go too?
It's a great. Yeah, me and Miller.
Did you
went
guys
up there.
drink?
Yeah, absolutely. It's mostly what we did.
That's in the water fountain
There
there, by
just
the way,
happened to
John.
be a football game somewhere in between, and it was the worst football game I may have ever seen in my life.
It was, wasn't it?
It was a little warm, too, huh?
It was the second hottest game at Lambeau, I think.
Crazy.
Is what they said.
Was
I'm
it
taking
really?
the Colts. I'm a loyal guy if I'm nothing else. I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, you know what? I think we all kind of get caught up a little bit in that right
Yep.
here. And for me, you know, my angle is I can't be talking about a 0-3 team to start the season. And while I knew it was going to be at times a struggle, 0-3 is not the struggle.
If Colts lose, what's the move?
I don't think there's any move. I don't know when the move is going to be. I don't know who would make the move. I don't think Jim Irsay is going to make the move. I don't think any of the daughters will make the move. I don't think Chris is going to make the move on himself. You know, maybe Gus Bradley if this defense doesn't get right up front whatsoever. But I don't think there are going to be any moves until the end of the season because I think they're worried about looking like 2022 when the whole thing was a clown act.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, you know, you got to get that offense going, but you got to have your. We talked about it.
I just don't want to get
show.
there. Yeah.
You got to have keep your studs in the game, so they better be playing the right guys.
Jonathan, don't pull Jonathan
Don't
Taylor
pull Taylor.
out of the
Can't
game
pull Taylor.
when he's having
Ever.
a game like that and have all the nerds try to explain to me analytically why he should be on the bench and Trey Sermon or Goodson should be whatever. God. Whatever. Hey, Nick. Hey, talk about the specials, Nick, the general manager here.
Yeah, man. So we've revamped all of our specials every day of the week.
You have.
Basically, the way we looked at it, with all the happy hour stuff coming out, we thought instead of doing happy hour, we're just going to make really good specials.
Is tuna and
all
cottage
day, every
cheese
day.
on your happy hour menu?
What's that?
Tuna and cottage cheese.
Absolutely. You can.
Oh,
we'll
yes,
do like a
baby.
shot of JMO with a cottage cheese chaser, if that's what you want. You know, or a shot of larceny. I'm sorry.
There we go. That
That's
sounds
what I
better.
said. What'd you think I said?
I
It's the
didn't hear.
microphone. Shot of larceny. Cottage cheese chaser. We'll rim it with the a zebra cake rimmer.
Rimmers. Nice.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, you're
However you
awesome,
want it.
man. Nels,
Yes,
you guys
sir.
are awesome. Well done.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots for week number 3. And again, if Sager is still listening, happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
to the
Sage.
Sager
Love
right
it.
there.
Absolutely.
No doubt about
Happy birthday,
that.
Sagey.
All right, Tom Thayer, former offensive lineman of the Bears, longtime color analyst on the Bears Radio Network. He's going to join us coming up next. I'd love to see you. 116 in Brook School, Joe's Grill, Fisher's, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Hey, James, while we're at it right now, we're going to go to a break. Give somebody a chance to win some bullseye passes. Number 9 at 239-1070 can join the party on Sunday at the Bullseye Event Center. 239-1070. Number 9 gets 2 passes to go with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Oh, I got a great idea for you with Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing at 317-927-7186. You know them for any plumbing need, especially those emergencies. They're the absolute best. But what about a water softener in your home? Their water softener series, incredible. And a great deal right now is on the doorstep, and all you have to do is make that call. Talk to Lance about the great deals they have on their water softener series at LD Smith Plumbing, 317-927-7186. That's online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Awesome! Totally awesome! All right, Hamilton.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Joe's Grill, we're in Fishers today, 116 in Brook School. JMV Takeovers, just a ton of 80s coming up on B105.7 on Saturday night. The All Request live in studio Saturday night, 6 until midnight on B105.7. Hey, tomorrow's show here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is at the Chaparral. That's a Bud Light Blue Friday with Bears Colts tickets we shall give away at the Chaparral. That's Southeastern and Minnesota. Coming up with this show tomorrow. We did our Week 3 Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila shots on this show. And if you missed it, the podcast is at 1075thefan.com. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, of course, the Bears and the Colts, 1 o'clock coming up on Sunday. Long-time color analyst on the Bears Radio Network, was just a huge piece of what was the greatness of the 85 team, the Super Bowl 20 team. You know, I kind of look back at the 83 draft class of the Bears, and Jim Covert and Galt and Richardson and, the late Dave Dewerson, Richard Dent, Mark Bortz. He was a part of that as well. Spent time collegially at Notre Dame. Of course, we're talking about Tom Thayer here to talk some Bears on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, Tom, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back on the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
How long have you and Jeff been doing it together?
This is our 28th year.
Incredible, man. You don't last like that unless people love you. You know what I mean? And love the sound of it.
Well, you know what? I grew up here in the Chicagoland area in Joliet, Illinois, and I've been a Bears fan my whole life. And when I was an up-and-coming NFL fan, my only outlet to the NFL was the Chicago Bears, good or bad. And it's kind of ingrained in your foundation as a football fan, and it's been a part of my life and my family's life ever since. And I appreciate the opportunity, and I just hope it gets better.
No, you guys are awesome on the radio network. I did want to ask you this and frame this up in the case of nostalgia here. When you came out in '83 out of Notre Dame, you were a draft selection by the Bears, but you were one of the selections in the USFL, and I've always been very interested in the USFL. The time that you spent in that league, what's your memory of it? How'd you feel about it at that? Obviously, you went on to bigger and better things, but being a part of that, how was it for you?
It was awesome. I loved it. It was a great opportunity to be around some great coaching that really helped me develop and feel like that I was coming to the Bears as a starter, not as a backup. And, George Allen was our head coach, and he's a Hall of Famer in the NFL. But I will say the most important coach I've ever had in my life up until that point was John Tierlink. And he was our defensive line coach. And he taught me more about offensive line play and football dedication than anybody has up until that point. And I know John passed away, a few years ago. However, I never forget about what he's meant to me and how much he's helped me. And I know that he's got Hall of Fame credentials up and down the NFL for the guys not only he developed in Indianapolis, but everywhere else he coached. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, you read my mind on that, too. I mean, here from the early 2000s through 2011 in what we like to reference as the glory years back there, the late John Tierlink, and I was wondering the type of impact that he had coaching you up in your early years had on your career.
The one thing about John, he could kind of coach you a little bit by guilt, because he was a guy that always wanted a couple offensive linemen to stay out after practice and take one-on-ones against his defensive linemen. And if you ever found an excuse not to go out there after practice, he would always kind of guilt you about not being out there and say how it's going to affect your ability, how it's going to affect your improvement, that you're not really dedicated to the sport. And I enjoyed that about him because I grew an appreciation for that extra type of work to help you get better at what you needed to be good at. And John, certainly did a lot of that for us. And, he was really an incredible guy in my football life.
Well, and I think about this, and Tom Thayer, the Bears Radio Network's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I think about the glory years for you guys, and if you could substitute your offensive line, you and Jay and Mark and Keith and Jimbo, for what they have right now, then you would see, I think, more of a swift development, would you not, from Caleb Williams and these skill position players? Because to me, when healthy, right? Because you're still waiting on Keenan Allen, and I know Adunze, the rookie, has been a little bit dinged up at the beginning. But Cole Kmet is more of a blocking status right now than a receiver. It just seems like that there's a lot of skill there, but the offensive line has been a certain hindrance through the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, it has. And, I appreciate you saying the nice things about our offensive line, but you got to take this into account. We were the same 5 guys that started 7 straight seasons together, and we also had a Hall of Fame position coach in Dick Stanfel, who was just incredible at the way that he could teach whatever template he was teaching, because Jay Hilgenberg was a free agent. Mark Bortz was an ex-defensive tackle. Keith Van Horn was a 6'7" right tackle, and Jimbo was a 6'4" left tackle. So, no matter what your template was, he could coach the most out of you. And I do believe that I have a great deal of confidence in that group of offensive linemen, and I feel that we could play in any era. And when you have a new quarterback, you have a new offensive coordinator, you have a couple new free agents on the offensive line, you're still trying to figure out what you are, what your identity is, and where you're going with this thing.
It's funny. You look back in your era, too. So much was made about the Hogs in Washington, and rightly so. I mean, it was a talented group. A lot was made about what Bill Walsh had in San Francisco with his group. But you just talk about the longevity, the talent level, and the ability, which now – it just doesn't seem the same. Your ability as a group to stay on the field, to be ready to go each and every week, is something that people right now, I don't think if you look back to your era, would really recognize with what we see today.
One thing that I think is really hurt the NFL is there's no dedication to the weight room anymore, with the exception of a few guys. And we had a Hall of Fame coach in the weight room, and his name was Clyde Emmerich. He was the first weight coach hired in the NFL by George Halas. He coached there for almost 60 years. He was a world champion weightlifter himself, and he preached strength to us. Strength, how it fulfills the ability and the requirements of a football athlete. And I think that really did help us. And, from our strength back then to whatever our body weight was, I think that we could go toe-to-toe with anybody today. And I just wish that the weight room would get reintroduced to the NFL, so some of these guys that are 300 pounds, 330 pounds plus would play up to what their weight and what their strength gifts could be.
His Bears Radio Network partner, Jeff Joniak, and he have been basically partner up for 20-plus years. And the former Bear offensive lineman, Tom Thayer, is joining us now, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So we've seen we've seen the Colts be run on in the first 2 weeks. Joe Mixon, and we saw Josh Jacobs do it in the first half, especially last week up in Green Bay. And it's been done against what is supposed to be the strength of their team. However, the Bears don't really come into this week number 3 matchup on Sunday with those types of credentials. Will they still go hard at it, you think, early on in this game to try to establish it and be successful with it, much like the 2 weeks prior for both Green Bay and the Texans?
They've got to. They have a rookie quarterback who's still trying to feel his way through the passing game, understand pass protections more efficiently. But unfortunately, the Bears have had over 29%, 29.2% of their runs are negative runs or stuffed runs. They have 9 total first downs in 2 games rushing. They have 1 rushing first down by DeAndre Swift. If they don't find a path to the running game eventually, it's going to really hinder the progress of Caleb Williams throughout his rookie year. So it's not going to be solvable in 1 year. it's going to be, make some corrections during the week of practice and see if they can stick to it during the course of the game. And so we'll see. And I don't know, is there going to be a super supportive Indianapolis crowd there that's going to have so much crowd noise that it's going to make the snap count dysfunctional on the line of scrimmage? Because last week in Houston, when you try to have an effective offensive line play and you have crowd noise that's that disturbing, it really hurts the aggressiveness of an offensive line. So I have some concerns about that going up to Indianapolis.
Well, I'm telling you, the crowd noise, I think, is going to be – you're going to be a lot of Bears fans. I mean, and you witnessed that on Sunday night in Houston. I mean, you could tell watching it on TV, the Bears fans that were in the place in Houston as well. But you're going to have a lot of Bears fans making that trek down 65 here. And I'm assuming – and I know that at times they go to a silent count anyway with Richardson and the Colts offense. But what do you make of Richardson so far from what you've seen on tape and how his game translates versus a Bears defense that's been pretty good so far?
Well, a couple things. I know Chris Ballard really well, and I talked to him on the field last year when the Bears were up there for training camp. And I was still thinking about what he looked like at the Combine, and I probably haven't seen three guys as dynamic as he was at the Combine. So that's number one. And then when we were up there at practice, I was thinking, I don't know if this quarterback is defensible in the red zone. He's a powerful runner. He's a talented passer. He's big. He's strong. He's got a great arm. However, I think it's unfair to assume he's further along than a second-year quarterback just because he didn't get a chance to play last year. And I think he's got a tremendous upside. He could be a quarterback that we're talking about in 3 years with everything, oh my gosh, before we talk about him. So I still have just high expectations for him. And I hope for the NFL's sake, he develops along his athletic path, because I think that he could just be awesome for the AFC, for the Indianapolis Colts, and for a decade to come. But I think, like Caleb, it's unfair to assume that they're going to be the quarterback ultimately they're going to be without having a lot of experience.
Is Tom Thayer, 20-plus years, paired with Jeff Joniak in that radio network booth with the Bears, and obviously prior to that, along that offensive line and 85. It's funny, Tom, in closing here with you, I grew up a tremendous Bears fan, and then you kind of get jaded and, become, obviously talking about stuff on the radio, but I was a tremendous Bears fan. And you guys were such an absolute joy for me to grow up and watch. I still love looking back. And it's not just the 85 season. It's the growth and what you did in 84, beating Washington, in RFK there and, losing to San Fran and then kind of getting back with them. It was a glorious time to be youthful and a fan of football, especially if you were a Bears fan back then.
Yeah, again, growing up here myself, I was a hero worshiper of Walter Payton's. And the first time I got to stand in the huddle and being one of his offensive linemen, I kind of had to set back for a second and say, okay, you got to pay attention to your job, although you're standing directly across the huddle from Walter Payton. And I don't think people understand what a gracious superstar he was, and his personality and his graciousness to people. He's missed, and he was just an incredible guy to eventually be a teammate with.
Yeah, I talked to Jarrett yesterday, and I love talking to Jarrett too, just for that reason too. And you and I, we're not the same age, but we grew up, I think, the same way. We watched Walter Payton run it 3 times, and then Bob Parsons punt.
Right. You are right, unfortunately, for a majority of his career. But I'm happy that Walter, he ended his career as successfully as he should have been and gotten the Hall of Fame, the Super Bowl ring, and everything else he was awarded with.
No doubt about that. Hey, Tom, man, I'm really happy for you. Fantastic career on the field and off. Job well done. And tell Jeff we said hello down here in Indy, okay?
I will. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it. Tom Thayer's one of my all-time favorites right there, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And I love that team. I actually, we could go more in depth and have more time. I probably like the 84 team better than I did the 85 team. Because 85 with the Bears, if you're a fan, it was a foregone conclusion they were going to whip ass. You just didn't know whether or not they were going to go unbeaten. And obviously Miami deflated that in late November down in South Florida. But 84, you got to see them make that transition into a great team. I always thought 84, that particular season, was more enjoyable even in the Super Bowl season 20 or Super Bowl 20 of the season of 1985. Tom Thayer's on the radio network for 20-plus years with Jeff Joniak. Joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, it's Joe's Grill. We're in Fishers today. Thank you for joining us. 116 and Brook School. More to come with you, including Mike Chappell at the top of the hour. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Collect them, trade them, or just enjoy them.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Loved Tom Thayer. This is Thomas Dolby. I loved Tom Thayer. Podcast 107.5thefan.com. Joe's Grill. Fishers, 116 Brook School. Thank you for joining us. Did our picks for the week a little bit earlier. Hey, tomorrow, Bears-Colts tickets. We're going to be at Southeastern and Minnesota. Oh, we all drinking here? I'm sorry. My bad over there, guys. Hey, thank you, guys. Congratulations on me having Brent get you guys that. Right there. Bears-Colts tickets coming up tomorrow. The Chaparral. That's Southeastern and Minnesota tomorrow, too. And if you're asking about the 13 girls, I have been told, I know Lindsay Monroe is going to show up for real, but Galeros last week, James, with the whole, you know what, I can't make it because I have to take a nap. We had to rip her a little bit this week, didn't we? Just a little bit on Galeros.
Just a little bit, not too much.
Yeah, you can't tell me that you got to go home and get a nap. You got to get your ass in on the show with us. So I am thinking both are going to show up, and then I don't think she even listened to the show. Good Lord, Galeros. Should have got ripped even more than that. But, yeah, if you're asking about them, I believe they are both going to be at the Chaparral coming up tomorrow. Brent Holverson rejoins. Mike Chappell as well coming up on the other side. Joe's Grill, 116. We're at Brook School on a Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, Week 3, kind of afternoon, in Fishers on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. John here from BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Yeah, if you're smart and you're dialing, start dialing right now at 23.
We're waiting.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Joe's Grill and Fishers. I just saw Scott Long and fam here, man. We'll get Scotty on coming up in just a bit, too. Brent Holvis is going to rejoin us in a second. JMV Takeover Saturday night. Going to be a lot about the 80s, 6 until midnight. All requests Saturday night. JMV Takeover on B105.7. There's no better way to get you set for a Sunday of Colts, Bears, NFL action than calling in and requesting songs on a Saturday night on B105.7. Our Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Podcast up for that as well. We've done that. Tom Thayer, the Bears Radio Network, the former offensive lineman of the Bears' glory years, always a great guest. Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic was also here a little bit earlier. Andrew Catalan tomorrow joins us on the show. We'll be live on a Bud Light Blue Friday at the Chaparral, Southeastern and Minnesota, with Bears Colts tickets to give away. And I believe the 13 ladies, if I don't run them off and being critical of them, will join us coming up tomorrow as well. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I'll bring this up because I have tickets and gift cards for our next guest who joins us now, and I am going to roll through Beech Grove on my way to the Chaparral tomorrow and drop them off. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 joins us. So will you be around at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Of course not. I cover the Colts, and I'll be at the Colts complex. So,
son of a gun.
This is not an excuse. Put them in my mailbox. My mailman will leave them alone. Put them under the mat. So I need to make you come to Beech Grove.
I got to get your address because I'm on the way over there tomorrow. So I will have. I'm tell you what. When we're finished here, give your address information to James and have him pass it along to me, and I'll stop by there and put it in the mailbox tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah, we don't need to put that over the air. I don't want people, stalking my house.
Yeah, so, too late.
I know. Looking for it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Too late. Yeah, absolutely. On my way to the Chaparral coming up tomorrow. We'll see everybody there. All right, Matt Gay was back at it today. I guess that's a good thing. Latu, however, does not seem to be a good thing moving forward here. Where do we stand with the rookie?
Yeah, I mean, it's never a good thing when now, it's one thing for DeForest Buckner to miss practice and didn't play. I don't think it bodes well for the rookie. We don't know the extent of the hip injury. They're not going to give us much on that. I think he's ruled out tomorrow, which just further thins the defensive front that's already missing Ebukam and Buckner. And we'll see how they do. I mean, I don't know. We thought the defensive front was a strength, if not the strength of the team, which is fine when you got all your guys. And now all of a sudden you're having to dip into depth. And but I tell you, whenever you miss somebody, the dominoes start falling, and guys are pushed up the depth chart. And guys are on the depth chart where they are for a reason. And I don't mean to denigrate players, but when a guy is a backup or third on the list, and you start pushing him up to play more reps, it hurts what you do. And we've seen what the Colts have done run defense-wise the first 2 weeks has been awful. It's been historically awful. The only saving grace, I guess, is the Bears can't run the ball. Their leading rusher is their quarterback. The running backs are averaging about 2 yards a carry, which is pathetic. But they have to be looking at the Colts and say, hey, this is the day that we get well. And until the Colts prove they can stop the run, any offensive coordinator is an idiot for not seeing and testing and running against this defense, because you make a team, compensate and get better at what they can't do. And right now, that's the Colts run defense. I mean, 474 in 2 games is ridiculous.
So is there a belief that you have that without Buckner, and more than likely here, we'll see without Latu, that things are going to be that much different against the Bears? And if it is that much different, is it because the Bears' offensive line and their ground attack is just not that good in the first place?
Yes. I think those will be more Bears impacted than Colts impacted, because at some point, again, like I said, you're having extended minutes to guys who haven't earned extended minutes, I guess is the best way of putting it. I'll tell you one thing I'd like to see him do. Maybe they do. We talked to Grover Stewart, and he said, well, maybe we're going to have guys playing in different spots. I would love to see Dio inside playing tackle. I think he's a better option than Taven Bryan or Eddie Tamawa. I just think he is. So we'll see. But, also the offense has got to play better. But when we're on the defense, the secondary, all of a sudden, is not that big. It isn't a big concern because people haven't really, had the opportunity or the want to throw for 300 and some yards. I think C.J. Stroud could, but they really did a good job of getting after him at the expense of the run defense, which is understandable. Now, 213 yards by Houston was too much, but I understood the rationale. Last week to give up, God, what was it, 230-something in the first half and 260-some for the game. When you know they've got a inexperienced quarterback who hadn't thrown a touchdown pass in his career or a 100-yard game, you knew they were going to run it. Now, maybe they schooled you on how they ran it, attacking the edges and all that, but still, that was inexcusable. And I tell you, if the Bears find success on the ground this week, heaven help the Colts, because the Bears cannot run to this point.
Yeah, there are a lot of heaven help the Colts if things don't go right coming up on Sunday. There's no doubt about that. Mike Chappell is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I thought that this coaching staff got about as depantsed by the opposing coach, Matt LaFleur, last weekend as a coaching staff can be. You agree?
Probably agree. The defense, again, there's no, the fact that I tried to give him some props by whether they kept them to 16 points, and boy, you ought to win when a team's held to 16 points. But it was just how it got there. And let's not forget that the Zaire Franklin forced a fumble going into the end zone, so it could have really gotten out of hand. And offensively, yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand the 3rd and 1 at the start of the fourth quarter with Taylor on the bench, and then they left Taylor over there. It's like they forgot he was part of the team. Their best offensive player. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there was one design run for Richardson, maybe one. I think. So it can't be that they are afraid of running him on the edge because they don't want to get him hurt. That can't be it. It just had to be a quirk, because this is what you drafted him for. You drafted him to be Lamar Jackson-like or Jalen Hurts-like, to where he is 8 to 10 carries. And I've always thought that as much as, you worry about a quarterback getting hurt, I think he's got more of a chance getting hurt in the pocket than if he gets out on the edge, to where he can sort of protect himself more. I mean, you're going to get roughed up because it's the NFL and guys are out there to smack you around, but I didn't like it when you got a running back as who is your best offensive player, period, and he doesn't play in the fourth quarter. He's got 12 carries for 100 and some yards. I don't get it. I hope that was that one game a year that doesn't make sense, whatever. But they've got too much that they can do. Josh Downs coming back this week will help. But I thought last week was a bad trip to Green Bay for everybody.
I thought about it this. I thought about it this way too. I thought that Shane Steichen, and we wondered that before, and I realized this. I realized when you get to that level, you have to have that particular steadfast belief that what decision you're making is accurate. But that, to me, was a smarter than everybody else in the room maneuver, coaching-wise. And we've become accustomed to the smarter than everybody else in the room, decision-making-wise, from Chris Ballard. That was like one of the same to me last week from Shane Steichen, and I'm not a fan, honestly. Not a fan of that.
I can't disagree. I just, it's 3rd and 1, and, where you are without – I think the offensive line played well. I think it's played well. Line up and run behind Quentin for 2 plays. They said they were going to go for it on 4th down if they hadn't lost 4 yards on that option play. So, yeah, I don't get it. I think this team's still trying to find its identity, but part of the identity, however you do it, has got to be that when it's 3rd and 1, our bigs are going to beat your bigs and get a yard. They don't do the tush push and all that, and they don't do sneaks that much. But boy, when you got Jonathan Taylor or you've got the quarterback, don't get too fancy and just convert. So yeah, I think it was a bad game all the way around. Drop passes, missed tackles. I think there were 3 or 4 drops, and they had like 9 missed tackles, which is atrocious. So yeah, it was. I think we'll find out again. Like you've mentioned, you're more the panic mode guy than I am. But this can get out of hand in a hurry. It can. You got Pittsburgh coming up. Their defense is pretty good. I'm not so sure about Justin Fields, but their defense. And then you go to Jacksonville, and do we need to remind everybody about Jacksonville on the road? So you just got to find a way. I don't care if Sunday is the most butt ugly game they have ever played. They've got to find a way to be 1-2 at the end of the night.
I think they've given us enough reason to be pessimistic about a lot of things over the last handful of years. And Mike, it didn't take very long to go back to 2022, and I bring this up all the time. And that week 3, it was like they beat Kansas City. Remember that? And it was like, hey, they're back, and it's great. And then you fast forward a month later, and they're firing their head coach and hiring a guy off of TV and turning everything into a clown show. And through the first 2 weeks, and again, I don't know what's going to happen on Sunday, but through the first 2 weeks, it has been every bit as ugly this season as it was in that clown show of a season.
I think most people who did their projections, season, game by game and all that, probably had the Colts start 0-2. Because you didn't know about Malik Willis or Jordan Love. So I'm more concerned in how they've gotten to 0-2 more than the fact they're 0-2.
Sure.
Houston's legit. They're pretty good. But to do what happened in Green Bay, it's sort of inexcusable on a lot of levels. That's why it's going to be really interesting to see how they kind of regroup these next couple of weeks, starting with Sunday. Again, the Bears are averaging 3 yards a play. I mean, so theoretically, I guess they could go for it every time on 4th down and get a first down, but holy smokes, 3 yards a play is unbelievably bad. They've got the young quarterback who isn't being helped. I hope the Bears get it right. I don't want this to be another Bryce Young, or I flash back to David Carr in 2002 when Houston simply ruined him, just killed him. But he can do things on the edge. The worst thing is they gave up Malik Willis' first career touchdown last week. They don't need to do that again this week. Let's not start giving players benchmarks. So we'll see. It's just that when you're missing, again, Butler is their best defensive player. You can, however you want. He's their best player. They're going to miss him for at least a month. Your kicker. I mean, how much faith do they have in Matt Gay right now? I'm guessing not a hell of a lot. With the quad injury on top of the sports hernia, and he's not kicked well since mid-season last year. And these are going to be tight games because how this team is, and they missed a 50-yard field goal, and people are hitting 50-yard field goals like they're chip shots anymore. So they need to give the fan base and themselves some positive reinforcements, which means a win, and get the offense playing better. And what I wrote about this week, and a lot of us have talked about, is this defense has been so disappointing. It's not giving the young quarterback a chance to struggle. And the last thing they need is for him to start saying, boy, I need to do more. We can't afford to punt. I need to force things on 3rd down. They can't have that, and I don't think they will. But it's got to be this offense picking things up, and because the defense right now you can't trust it. If you can't stop the run, you can't play defense. I'm sure Rick Venturi can be a lot more analytical about it.
He was incredibly analytical earlier this week to me. Yes, you'd love the analytics he sent me in text.
Yeah,
great analytics.
I get the same ones, and it's until it gets better again. They don't give you a lot of reason to say it's going to get better, other than the Bears are coming to town. Well, fine, take care of your house, and so we'll see. But again, all I'm saying, I hope to get it turned around because the schedule gets a little bit tougher as you go along. So Jacksonville, Tennessee, you got Miami, and then Houston, down in Houston, Minnesota. So it just gets tougher, and don't get yourself in such a hole. I'm not talking to where you can't contend with Houston for the division. I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm talking about not letting this season get away to where it really gets away from you, and they're not going to fire. There's not going to be heads fall during the season. I just don't see that at all.
That's 2022 for anybody. And Mike, who would make the decision? Who's making that decision anyway? Chris is making the decisions. Chris not going to get rid of himself. He's not going to get rid of Ballard. Who's making the decisions?
That's not going to happen. I mean, that wouldn't happen at all. But if one side of the ball or whatever is not working, then maybe the owner says, "Good gracious," I don't know. I don't think that happens. I just don't think that seldom works and proves anything other than it made whoever made the call feel better for a minute. But that, again, the problem is it's 2 weeks, and they played well in the opener, well enough to at least have a chance to win, to where you think, yeah, maybe. I never got the impression when they were down 10-0 last week that they were in it. I just felt like they were hanging around with their fingernails, and that shouldn't have been the case. You get your best defensive player hurt, Buckner. You don't use your best offensive player in the fourth quarter, and you get your butt kicked, and that just can't continue. You got to stop the bleeding now.
From CBS 4 and Fox 59, Mike Chappell's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'm assuming they're prepared to go, and I think they do a little bit some silent count stuff anyway, but are they prepared for the Bears noise that's going to be accompanying that week number 3 matchup at Lucas Oil Stadium Sunday?
We were talking in the press room. What do you think the balance will be? 60% Colts, 70% Colts?
That's exact. 60-40 is what I thought. And, Mike, here's the other thing. If the Colts were to lose, it's going to be 50-50 or greater for the Steeler fans the week after.
Your 60% will turn on you.
Yeah.
I wonder how many Bear fans will be there. I'm sure there'll be a bunch, but I think it's too soon for the local fan base to be giving up on this team. I think. But I tell you, teams that and again, all it is what, a 3.5 hour drive down 65 to get here. So they'll be in throat, and they'll be the noisy ones until the locals drown them out. But boy, the Bears travel well. The Packers, and of course Pittsburgh. What about next week with Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I said. You imagine if the Colts were to lose and go to 0-3, what this place is going to look like with Pittsburgh fans in week 4?
That's why I say. It doesn't matter to me. I've got no dog in the fight. I mean, I cover the team and all that, but when you look at the team, it's much easier to cover a team that's winning, that's competitive, and all that. And it certainly is for the players. That's their job. So I just don't want to see it get out of hand early, and it can. Injuries are already becoming a factor. So I hope they get things righted on Sunday, and then we'll worry about Pittsburgh when the time comes. But you've got to, maybe what they need to do is kind of play Purple Rain over the intercom to kind of bring back the old Super Bowl vibe when you kick the Bears' ass in Miami. Yeah. So anything that works, I would try it.
And no doubt about that, too. It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. Hey, the Chaparral's not too far from your your Beach Grove estate, so why don't you slide by tomorrow?
I still have tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
We'll see. We'll see. Where I don't know where it is. Where's
Southeastern and Minnesota, which I believe is right toward the city, toward the downtown from Emerson, which is not too far from you, right?
If I can get my work done, maybe I will. But still,
that'd be awesome.
But still, you need to drop off the coupons just because you need to drop them off.
Would you have drinks with us too? Would you do that? Are you allowed to drink? I've never asked.
If I come there, I'll have a Coors Light over ice. I always do that.
Well, you'll have a Bud Light tomorrow because that's the sponsor of the show. That's what you're going to do, buddy. Come on now.
I can't secretly get a Coors Light?
You cannot secretly do anything. You cannot do anything secretly. It's all out there in the open.
All right.
And know that my 13 friends will be there too. What they say, Lindsay Monroe and Gina Galero. So, yeah, it'll be wild. So you need to be there. It's always it's a good spot. For the last 3 years, we've done shows there, and it's always been a really good time. So
if I get my work done, no promises. If I get my work done, I'll drop in.
All right, I'm gonna give your address to James, and I'll find your mailbox or your mailbox, I should say, on my way over there tomorrow. Okay?
Sounds good, buddy.
You got it. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Later.
So, Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. And Scott Long. Scott, come on over here, man. Hey, Dev, get Scott a headset ready and an active microphone right there. I want Scott to come up here again. Joe's Grill in Fishers. This is near the domicile of one Scott Long, not too far away. Comedian, friend of the show. Brent Halverson rejoins as well at Joe's Grill in Fishers. How you doing, Scott?
You'll hear my voice. I sound like RFK Jr. At this point.
Yeah. That's a little Lou Brownish from Major League right there. All right.
I wish it was just
forget about that curveball, Ricky. Give him the heater.
Probably just yelling at the Colts.
Is that
I'm guessing Anthony Richardson's biggest fan is RFK Jr. That's why he throws the way he does. You know, everybody made Steichen a genius. I thought he had a really good year, but let's look at...
He was far from a genius Sunday.
The last 2 weeks of... So far into the season, we're 2 weeks of the season. Do you know who is the lowest completion percentage quarterback?
Anthony Richardson.
Right. Do you know who the number one is? Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
77%.
Right. There you go.
He is second in the league in total yards.
Yes.
I have spoken this. I have been ripped by every writer in the market.
Have you really?
Oh, my God. You know, because I just kept backup quarterback. Yeah, okay. He's he's a mid-range. He's a Baker Mayfield light maybe, but that's better than what we've got right now. You cannot play games where you have the ball 20 minutes of the game and the other team has 40 and you have a weak defense to begin with.
Son of a gun. Look at Scott Long is right on top of it.
Yep.
Hey, the Story Inn. You're going to be there?
Yeah, in
Is that in
Nashville.
Brown County?
Great spot.
Right?
Yeah, beautiful place.
Look at that down by Brent's got a place down there, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, you should on your way. Yes, I saw that. You just recently got those, right?
Talk
All
about this
done, ready to
comedy
go.
show that you're going to be at
I'm
the Story
doing what
Inn.
it just dawned on me. Saturday night, I'm really not good at promoting myself. I'd rather talk about the Colts. Yes, I will be doing stand-up. It should be a great show. It's a rare example of me doing more of an R-rated show. And it'll be a blast. It'll be fun.
Is it like when I got up there and did your show and just dropped F-bombs the entire time?
I won't be that R-rated. I'll be more thoughtful, but not as fun. Because when John gets up there, man, and he gets into Scooby-Doo and whatever else.
I made fun of my thing. I made fun of myself, my thingy.
He's so great. So great.
Hey, is that an all-ages show, or is that 21 and over?
I think it's 21.
It is?
I don't know.
Nice, buddy.
I don't know. Look at it. I don't know. Get a hold of the Story Inn. It's a beautiful place.
It is a great spot.
Really cool.
Who's this Zach Gardner and Chris Klein that's with you here?
I think they're funny. They're not going to do a lot of time, so don't worry. It's mostly me.
Mostly you.
Did my ego just lose?
I'm just curious. I just saw their faces here, too.
Yeah, Zach Gardner, Chris Klein, very funny guy, a good friend of mine, former military guy, and he won the Bob Woodruff a comedy award last year. He's a great guy, and he also is a soccer goalie coach.
Wow.
But he looks like he's like a Marine. It's the weirdest mix of people.
Hell of a combination right there.
Yeah, I love it. He's a great guy.
The Story Inn Old Mill. Where can people get their tickets? At the door?
Look, storyinn.com, whatever. You know what? I put it on Twitter. ScottComedy.com. Find me there.
Good to see the fam here, buddy. Thanks for bringing them
I'm a
over,
block
too.
away.
Hey, shout out to Gary Harris, who painted the court over there, too, is what you said, right?
This
Right
is
near
an
your house.
HSC thing. I'll quickly.
is.
It's beautiful if you're ever
We're
around
big
here.
Gary Harris fans, both dad and son around
Dad
here.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Normally,
sick.
Dad comes in. I don't know where the hell the dad is today. Ooh. So
Right there.
Did Gary Harris Sr. paint that up? Because I didn't think he was that talented.
No, I mean, I don't know what he was. He must have been on something that was
Yeah.
at P. Diddy's house if he did that photo.
That's awesome, man.
Okay, thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
you got it, buddy. Thank you.
See ya.
Scott
Love
Long
you,
right
Brent.
there.
Man, great to
The
see you, bro.
Story Inn on the 21st with Scott Long down in Brown County. Thanks, buddy. Scott Long with us. Brent Holverson rejoins on the other side. Joe's Grill. We are in Fishers. This Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Thursday with 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
With JMV.
Son, you got a panty on your head. Just drive fast, okay?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, Yacht Rock Reviews coming to town a week from Friday. This, my friends, would be a Yacht Rock classic. Brent Alverson rejoins. Can you name this artist and song? So I'll just tell you this. Background singer, background vocals, Michael McDonald. Hey, Ike, do you do Yamo Be There? Yes. Oh, you're awesome. God dang, you do everything.
He does. He is the best one-man band you'll ever hear. He had over 3,000 songs. Is that right?
Yamo Be There.
3,000 songs. Yamo Be There.
Kelly Eisenhower does the Yamo Be There. Hey, number 9 at 239-1070, Yacht Rock Review. That's a week from Friday. Hey, you can join me there. I'm going too. I think on a week from Friday, I'll be at Taylor's Pub up in Nora. Awesome. And then I'm going to jet downtown and go see Yacht Rock Review. That is Indy's party band, the smooth sounds of Yacht Rock with Yacht Rock Review. Number 9 at 239-1070. I'll have tickets to give away again tomorrow. Tickets to give away on the JMV Takeover on Saturday night. It is going to be an absolute blast, and I will look for you a week from Friday all down there. If you don't win those tickets, just make sure you're part of it and be at the Everwise Amphitheater downtown at White River State Park. A week from Friday, that is Yacht Rock Review. I believe tonight was supposed to be Jane's Addiction and Lovin' Rockets, or is that next Thursday? One of the Thursdays. And then you get Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro. Actually, I'm not going to blame Dave Navarro. You get the lead singer and the lead guitarist, I should say, fighting on stage. So Jane's Addiction had to cancel the tour. And what bums me is I wanted to see Lovin' Rockets, and they're out of it too.
Well, you know, Dave Navarro came out and apologized because he wanted to see him and wanted to play with him. and Kelly and I were talking earlier about that whole Perry Farrell outbreak, and wow, what a disaster.
He is an absolute mess.
Yes, he is. He is.
He was on this show once upon a time.
Was he really?
And it was nuts. I don't think I said a word for 30 minutes. And I don't even. He said some things that were nuts.
Well, he's a little bit out there, John.
He's very out there, Perry Farrell. But yep. That, unfortunately, was canceled. Our Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, even though we were all really bad last week, that wasn't canceled nor postponed. We had week 3 today. What are we thinking as far as moving forward right here? The Thursday nighter tonight features New England and the Jets.
You know, we talked earlier, I do like this Jet squad tonight. I think that Aaron Rodgers back, first game at home, New York, just the buzz. If they don't win, that town might flip the stadium upside down.
Right on.
I think they're going to come out and fire up, and I look for the Jets to kind of get one easy tonight, actually, John.
Yeah, so, New England, I think New England got the surprise in on the Bengals. I don't know how much more of a surprise it may be. It looked like the Jets kind of found themselves in Nashville. I really liked Tennessee last week. I thought that for their home opener would be a breakthrough for them. And at 0-2 is far from a breakthrough for Will Levis and the Titans. Again, Joe's Grill, Brooks School, and 116 is our location. You got the Sager. Your daughter's turning 12 today, so happy birthday to the Sager.
Big birthday to Sage. She's out there taking advantage of all the birthday treats that some great spots offer. And
who was the country music artist that sent her the message?
So Nate Smith. Nate Smith. He is one of the most genuine, awesome dudes. I had the pleasure of meeting him about a year and a half ago and have just become friends, right? We talk all the time since text, and he sent Sage a nice little birthday video this morning that kind of started her day off properly to head to school. And, looking forward to that. I think we're going to be going down to see him and Bailey Zimmerman. That's her 2 favorites. And we're going to go down and see and get to meet and hang out with all those guys down in Florida here next month.
Shout out to our guy, Jim Romanek. And I mentioned to you guys a little bit earlier, I talked to Matt Colglazier of Big Red Liquors earlier this week. We got to get something going there as far as a show bottle. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean?
No, we should. And hey, we talk maybe a barrel pick. Go down to a barrel pick together, get you involved in that. Matt's one of the brightest. And I love Matt Colglazier. I have the pleasure of working with him quite a bit. And what they have done with over 109 stores now, it's just phenomenal, right?
And taking over even more.
They really are. They're they're just a great group. They got the things dialed in, and just a great overall partner in person to be able to work with. And so we do need to get a JMV bottle. You know,
well, I mean, we can do one for our picks as well. But I grew up, understanding in Bloomington. It all started with one in 1972 on College Avenue in Bloomington with Mark McAllister.
Mark
who
McAllister
has been a longtime friend of mine.
He's
right
a
there.
great guy. He is legendary. I think he's down in Florida now, right?
South Carolina, I believe,
Is it
is
South
where
Carolina?
he was. Yeah,
Okay.
but around Hilton Head,
Good
I
for
think.
him. Yeah, absolutely.
But he is absolutely legendary. And I think about the first three they had in Bloomington on College. Actually, two would have been on College. One was in the old A&P grocery location, and the other on East 3rd, which used to be across from the Kmart on the east side. Now it's just a group of apartments like everything else in Bloomington.
Oh, yeah.
Apartments and brownstones and condominiums and such in Bloomington.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
A lot of good stuff down there.
A lot of good stuff
Deep South.
indeed. All right, you're going to make the announcement where we're going next coming up, right?
Absolutely.
We'll do that on the other side. Our Harris Hoosier Park race of the day. That's 50-50 betting and dining. We've got that for you coming up next. We're live at Joe's Grill. Fisher's 116 and Brook School, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. We're back with you next. Let's do the Harris Hoosier Park race of the day right now.
With JMV.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, everybody. Remember, get your AAA membership today. Well, a lot of you are going out on fall break. If you're going to be rolling on the road, make sure they got your back at AAA Membership Lounge. YouTube Live, your Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day winner, Jeff Taylor. Jeff Taylor, and a $9 win on a $2 bet. The $2 exacta payout was $77.40. 50-cent trifecta went 60-50. That's your Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. One more time tomorrow, we shall do that. And a shout to Rick Moore, the general manager of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson, and my friend, along with Brent Holverson, Tony Renz as well as a part of that. Ryan Nally's back with me, Brent Holverson. Nick is here as well, the general manager. Joe's Grill, Fisher's 116, and Brooks School. Nels, we doing all right?
Yeah, man. Just enjoying the show.
Yes, indeed. It's been a good one.
It has been a good
James said back at the studio, this is one of our best. I didn't know if he was BSing me or not.
I think he's BSing. We've had a lot better overall.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, that feels
like he's attaboy.
I wanted to mention to you, John, by the way,
Yeah.
I was listening, so I was driving between Westfield Joe's and Fisher's Joe's yesterday, listening to the show, and I sent you a tweet trying to clear up the garbanzo bean and chickpea dilemma.
Oh, yeah.
Well, garbanzo beans
and I was really looking forward to reading it on the air, and then you read, somebody beat me to the punch, and
oh, yeah.
we didn't get there.
But I'm so stupid, I walked right into it.
just wanted to help you out. You seemed like you were in a bind. And,
I know, the chickpea thing. And I walked right into it, and I go, God dang it. I mean, I knew that's where people were taking
You
it.
did. You walked right into it, and I was having a great time in the car.
I had no idea. None. I am so dumb. It is not good
I
to
was
be
there.
dumb.
I was there at your aid, and I didn't get the
you
tweet
were.
out.
My
I was
dentist.
tweeting and driving, which is not a great thing. But
No, especially for you.
But I wanted
it on.
Well, I wanted. That's why I
You have
wanted
a helmet on until October 1st.
Yeah, it's true.
My dentist, the super dentist, even sent me that.
Yeah,
I
well,
walked down the path with him.
That's,
I go, wait a minute.
I heard you read the super, and I was like, dang it, he beat me to it.
Oh,
so.
dang it. So, hey, what we got coming up this weekend, fellas? Beginning tonight and then throughout the weekend at Joe's and all the locations and the free.
So, man, we're a Free Spirit next week.
We are a Free Spirit next week.
The
Yes.
Free Spirit.
I love the
Holy
free.
moly.
So Fishers, we got Friday night. We got Steve Smith playing up here Friday night. Saturday is always karaoke.
Yep.
If you like karaoke, show up. It's one of the biggest karaoke shows.
Do you do it?
I don't. I have sang on it before.
What would you do?
Well, one of my go-tos is Like a Rolling Stone from Bob Dylan.
You sound just like him, huh?
Well, I can do a good impression, and it really ruins the room for about 6 minutes, which makes me laugh.
Everybody.
That's why nobody else really enjoys it, but I always tell them you're welcome when I'm done.
Now's you got a karaoke classic?
I mean, Toto? I mean,
Why not?
Africa?
Toto.
I want to see that.
I always like Christopher Cross. You know,
why
Yacht
not?
Rock is just amazing.
You could do Ride Like the Wind.
It's a long set.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a long set. You have to have a lot of confidence.
Yep.
Which, it just depends on.
I would ask Brent. He's probably doing Grateful Dead, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
I do Charlie Daniels, The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
more of the spoken word.
It's a great one, though.
Yeah, it's right up my alley.
The crowd loves that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's a
words.
little tester for you.
Please.
What movie?
Urban Cowboy.
Oh, you already know.
You can't ask him about stuff like
I thought
that,
I was
man.
going to get
So
something.
the devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bond because he's right behind,
and it was
willing
at
to make
the
a deal.
end of the movie when
Yes.
yeah.
Did you notice that Charlie Daniels was playing his fiddle and he had his eyes closed?
He did, but did you know that
He's really good at fiddle.
Did you know that fiddle, the strings were coming off?
Yeah,
of
they
it,
were.
too?
I think
Yeah.
he saws them up, right? And they pop and such.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I'm not a fiddle player, too.
Karaoke Saturdays are just wild here.
That's
too.
awesome.
So, and then up at Westfield, we've got Jenna Rose on
Nice.
Friday playing.
Jenna Rose and the Ramblers.
Yep.
Oh,
and
they're
Wicked
good.
Foreplay on Saturday, so we got a nice lineup of bands up there.
Wicked Foreplay
be
with
great.
Jason Coley. Yeah, they're
Jason's
pretty good.
Jason's an all-time guy.
He's
so.
a great dude.
Yep.
Awesome
He
guy.
is.
And Brent, we're at the Free.
We are at
coming up
Free
next
Spirit
week,
next
right?
Thursday, absolutely.
Next Thursday.
We're gonna.
Which
you
is
better,
awesome.
I know you've lost a lot of weight and you're eating
have.
healthy, but I'm going to tell you right now, Free Spirit's got that.
That's what I hear.
Oh, it's got that double smasher.
Man, you can't do that to me, though, brother.
Onion bacon. That's every.
I'm gonna have to give myself 19 shots before I go up
You
there.
need to create some kind of tuna fish dish because that's what Mr. Fish.
I'm gonna tell you what. If you go tuna
What's
and
Lisa
cottage
doing?
cheese,
What's Lisa doing next Thursday?
Oh, hey, whoa, what? Where'd that go?
Happy birthday, Seiji. I love
John,
your mom. I love you.
We can still chase the Larson shot with tuna fish if you want.
why not? You guys have Starkist or
right
something
down the
back
road.
there. don't you?
Starkist.
You got Kansas Starkist back there?
Oh, 100%.
Do you make
chicken
tuna
and
salad
seed.
here?
No, but I make a mean one at home.
Man. Yeah, see, I do tuna and cottage cheese together. Does that sound gross?
No, I'm in.
It does.
I'm in.
Does that sound gross, Mike?
No, I'm actually intrigued.
Do you like a little?
I'll be honest, it sounds gross.
Do you like a little spice to your tuna?
Nah, I
fish
just
salad?
kind of leave it the
If
way
you
they
take a little slap your mama seasoning, you put that on there, just in the whole batch. It has this little twang,
Okay.
a little spice to it, and it's actually really good.
I like Daisy cottage cheese. That's my favorite.
That's the best. We were just talking
good.
about that at the
That's
table.
good.
Honestly, it's the best.
Why not?
I'm gonna reach out to
just a bunch
Dub.
of dudes sitting around talking about cottage
My
cheese.
cousin,
I don't know if Dub's listening. He might be playing pickleball.
I'm going to reach out to him, though. He might be playing pickleball.
my cousin
but,
used to mix baked beans and cottage cheese together.
Why not?
All the time at Thanksgiving. And I called her crazy until I was about 30 years old, and I tried it. It's delicious.
Wow.
It's delicious.
We'll have to get Dub to see if he can't get
She's
you a
from
tuna fish
Tennessee, though.
special next
Yes.
Thursday at Free Spirit.
Free Spirit.
You know
Larson,
why?
he
You know
locks
why?
in his
You know
little
why I
shots
keep
week
cottage
4.
cheese and tuna fish. I mean tuna fish salad and everything.
Why is that?
So my sons Max and Riley won't eat it.
See, that's it.
Because my wife
That's it.
buys nothing but fresh fruit. Right? I know it looks like.
By the way,
but they eat everything that I try to eat healthy, but they eat it quicker.
I understand that.
And then I yell at her about like, why is there only one?
I just want to point out that saying tuna fish is an Indiana thing. Nobody in the world says.
I just say tuna.
They just say tuna.
Yeah.
But here in Indiana, we're like, hey, tuna fish.
You guys are awesome. Now,
Tuna
thanks,
fish.
buddy.
Hey,
see you next week.
we'll
The
see you
free.
next week.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that.
Thanks, fellas.
Brent
Appreciate
Halverson as well next week at the free. I've got the Colts Daily Update next. So, Latu not practicing, not looking good. Matt Gay was back today. That and more, and a conversation with Jalen Jones upcoming 6 o'clock. Me, voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor. The Daily Update is on deck. That is next. Sit tight.